can start.
Very good evening, delegates. Welcome to the second day of 2 days refresher course on tax audit and technology. Yesterday we had an overview of tax audit, the first day session handled by Abdullah from Mumbai. Today's session is all about a tax audit using technological tools. We have with us today two speakers to handle the today's session, CA Saran Kumar and CA Sivaprasad sir. Welcome both of you, sir, to the today's session. Let me first introduce Saran Kumar sir first. Saran Kumar, a qualified chartered accountant, holds diploma in information system audit from ICAI. He is also a certified certificate holder in forensic audit and fraud detection and a course on concurrent audit from ICAI. He has worked with top corporates including Microsoft and Credit Suisse Bank for more than 4 years. Presently, he is the managing partner of a leading firm. His specialization includes statutory audit, internal audit, forensic audit, transaction audit under IBC, automation of financial processes, data analytics, including reconciliations, etc. Having more than 10 years of experience in handling data analytic tools like MS Excel, Power BI, IDEA, ETL tools, etc. He has been a regular faculty of FAFD certification course conducted by ICAI. He has been the guest speaker for the seminars being conducted by ICAI and other institutions, which includes the CMAI and National Academy of Customs, Indirect Taxes and Narcotics, etc. On the topics of data analytics with the latest tools, audit under CBS environment, Excel as an audit tool, and many other such topics. Saran Kumar sir is one of the managing committee member of Hyderabad branch of SIRC ICAI, and presently he is holding the position of SICASA co-chairman. Welcome you, sir. Let me also introduce the next speaker. Our next speaker is Sivaprasad sir. He is a qualified chartered accountant, qualified securing all India 7th rank at intermediate level and 5th rank at final level. Yeah, big round of applause for that, sir, and kudos to you. He is also a law graduate, also holds diploma in information system audit from ICAI, also done a certificate course on GST by ICAI, presently pursuing advanced management program on business analytics from Indian School of Business. Presently, he is a partner in a leading LLP firm as well. His experience, he has got a vast experience, served as a lead consultant on retainer basis to Andhra Pradesh Commercial Taxes, State Tax, Government of Andhra Pradesh, selected as a faculty of GST and a faculty identification program conducted by ICAI. And he has vast audit experience as well. Performed a central statutory audit of public sector undertakings, which includes NTPC Limited, Power Grid Corporation of India Limited, Electronics Corporation of India Limited, Life Insurance Corporation of India, South Central Zone, BSNL, Andhra Pradesh Circle. Performed central statutory audit of public sector banks, which includes Oriental Bank of Commerce, Andhra Bank, etc. His contribution to our profession are commendable. Conducted departmental training programs to Guntur, Eluru, and Vijayawada divisions of Central GST Department. Conducted departmental training programs to all the circles of Andhra Pradesh State GST Department in the areas of inputs, refunds, appeals, and annual returns. Conducted corporate training programs to various business corporates. He has performed a seminar specific to government sectors entities of state government of Andhra Pradesh, AP Oil Fed Corporation, AP Mark Fed, AP Agros, entities with more than 2,000 crore of annual turnover in aggregate. He has delivered more than 200 seminars at various locations of ICAI, Chamber of Commerce, FATPCI, Confederation of Indian Industry, and other trade bodies and associations. He was a guest faculty for Acharya Nagarjuna University and ICAI on the subject of financial instruments and derivatives. He has conducted a weekly series under the name Quest on application of accounting standards for 23 weeks at ITC Limited, Guntur. He has made several state and central level representations as well. He has represented Tobacco Board and Tobacco Association before Ministry of Commerce, New Delhi, on the issues faced by the industry, and presented paper. Also presented paper to the Finance Minister, State Government of Andhra Pradesh, representing Tobacco Association and Tobacco Board. Represented before the advanced ruling authorities for the state of Andhra Pradesh and the state of Telangana. Represented before AP State Tribunal of State Tax, Visakhapatnam, and DC appeals at Vijayawada and Tirupati as well. His technical assignments includes information system audit of a public sector and rural banks, redesign the existing ERP program in tune with the requirement of GST for AP oil fed, and a founder and mentor of Sadhguru Audit GRC Solutions Private Limited, SEGSOL.in, which has developed various products including AnyAudit.in, a comprehensive cloud-based integrated solutions on automating audit, and SkillUp.co.in, an integrated learning management solution, TaxSearch.in, web-based research solution on tax and legal matters, and SahityaSarada.com, a linguistic treatise on Sanskrit language. With this brief, I present before you both the speakers, Saran Kumar sir as well as Sivaprasad sir, to handle today's session on tax audit using technological tools. The first speaker, let us hear from Saran Kumar sir. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, all of you. Thank you so much, first of all, SIRC, for inviting me, if I'm not wrong, consecutively third year for the tax audit program on the technology series. In fact, I'm thankful to all the committee members as well as the staff who has taken a lot of time and make sure that this session happen as I'm part of the managing committee member, MC meeting is going on virtually, so that's the reason yesterday it is actually a very short notice for us to discuss many things at MC. So that's the reason I requested other faculties, Shivaprasad sir, into the panel. I'm sure his inputs will be a great things for the members who are attending here. I'll be taking at least 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes topic on the technological tools. Later, Sivaprasad sir will deeply take you into the application, because there are n number of applications in the market where with respect to the working papers, documentation, reporting, audit trials, and everything where you can maintain. But the problem of all these applications are if you look into one application, maybe documentation part is good. If you look into the other application where sampling part is good, if you look into the third application where reporting part is good, I'm sure he'll demonstrate the pros and cons of different applications. In fact, he himself involved in one of the a great application for the chartered accountants called AnyAudit. I'm sure at least he can give, I request rather Sivaprasad Garu to give some inputs into his own application also, because whenever we want to prepare any develop any application, we deeply go into the subject and we will look into the backside logical part. With this little introduction of next 3-hour session, let me share my screen first of all. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Please confirm.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir. Visible.
Yeah, great. So tax audit using technology. Yeah, tax audit using technology tools is the title. Technology tools is, in fact, tools are n number. We always little fail to identify which tool is helping us at what requirement. Okay, so as a chartered accountant, Microsoft Excel is one of the very important tool. In fact, 30 to 40% of my session is purely on Microsoft Excel, and maybe 10-15% of my session is on the ETL tool. There are a number of tools which are available in the market, but obviously by attending just 1.5 hour session of this seminar, you may not learn end-to-end of Excel or end-to-end of Power Query, which I'm going to talk about. I request you to go back and start doing some practice. Then only you can get benefit out of this session. I'm going to talk about tools overview for tax audit. What are the required skills, scope of using the tools class by class. I tried keeping all the classes into one Excel file, and I given different colors based on what complexity of the tool is required for which class and so on. Then the very important part is, because at the end of the day, it's not about the theory we talk about, it's not about the sections we talk about, it's not about the interpretations we are gonna look into, but we are going to look into the data from the ERP, because 80 to 90% of the cases in the MSME sector deal with the tally or focus or wings. Remaining 20-30% of the cases where they talk about the bigger ERPs called SAP and so on. Nevertheless, whatever the ERP people use it, procedure is same. You get the daybook, On the daybook, we will try to apply a lot of analytical procedures through which we can get a lot of inferences, and based on which we'll take a decision. Daybook conversion for the analysis. As I said, most of my session is on Microsoft Excel. There are n number of features I may talk about it. In fact, maybe very much required while you do the tax audit. Pivot table is something which you should brush up yourself. Power query is something which I'll introduce today, along with a couple of examples, how quick it can make your sample work. Then advanced filter is something very important. When it comes to the functions, Vlookup function, concatenate in the old case, or concat function, SUMIF or SUMIFs function, and so on. I'm going to talk about Power Query. I made it as a feature as well as separate item because Power Query is like a Microsoft Excel. If you want to learn Microsoft Excel, you need to spend at least 100 hours. In the same way, if you want to learn about end-to-end Power Query, that is another ocean of 100 hours. So we will be trying to see how Power Query can help us to do the proper audit and analysis. Friends, I still remember 2 years back when DC Jain was chairman, that time in the lockdown period, I was talking about the Power Query, and a lot of people was telling that time that it is something very advanced. But if you look into now in the YouTube or Google or even Microsoft Excel, the changes which are happening around Excel is mostly with respect to the Power Query. You can understand how important the feature is. In fact, today I'm going to introduce again 1-2 features to you. After 2 years, you will realize how important those features are. Whoever attended my two years back session on the same topic, what I covered on the Power Query, I'm sure in last 2 years, if you could have practiced by this time, I'm sure you could have made many automations using the Power Query. Don't worry, in today's session, I'll talk about little elaborate on the Power Query so that it does a great audit for us. Usage of the tools, another tool is very important. We call it as an ERP, it's a tally, or whatever the ERP for that matter. Before going and starting for any tax audit, I request you at least have little hands-on. When it comes to tally, you must know how to get the daybook, how to export the daybook, and how you can connect your daybook of tally to the Excel using the ODBC. If you are having little more advanced knowledge, I request you please start using the TDLs. I am not asking you to write a code inside the TDL and prepare your own customized tool for the tally, but at least you must know how to get the TDL and export into the tally so that you can use the customized features. Many a times people ask in different application, different WhatsApp groups stating that Sharan, is there any tool which can be helpful for me in the tally, or is there any tool through which I can upload directly the Excel file into the tally, the entry should happen automatically, or is there any tool I can put the bank statement along with the proper description with the debit and credit, once I upload into the tally everything must happen automatically. There are n number of tools for your information, but many a times we don't explore, be it Excel, be it Power Query, or be it Tally. Until unless you explore, you cannot get the best. I don't know how many of you till now went into the shopping. There is an option on the top of a Tally called shopping. Okay, once you go to the shopping with the cheapest price from starting from 300 rupees till maximum 1200, 1300 rupees, n number of TDLs are there. Tally is such a great application. I always like it, not just because it is a proprietary having the entire code inside. Tally is giving a functionality to other people so that other people can use the Tally architecture and they can build the great applications for the Tally. If you look into the shopping, thousands of TDLs are there. You just need to spend some 10 to 15 minutes with your keyword search, export from Excel to Tally. You'll be finding a number of TDLs again. Every TDL which is registered in the Tally, 3 days trial period is there. You can download the TDL, and you can, once you buy from the Tally shopping, the TDL will automatically import into your Tally. So you need not to do any great work. So just import into the Tally and start using it. If it is not something which is helpful for you, then you can remove the TDL, go to the new TDL, try it, and so on. Once you start exploring the TDLs in the Tally, you will be finding n number of tools with the most cheapest cost. You know, the TDL cost is 800 rupees per year. Some of the TDLs are lifelong. Okay, you can just buy it and use it till you know, whatever the period you would like to use it. So I request you at least spend some time in the shopping of Tally, so that for the tax audit also you'll be finding many great tools. Whatever the audit we do, these all are the steps, these all are the process where data is involved. In fact, I am more concentrated in the today's session also. Concepts to be, I'm going to cover these concepts, how to do the data cleansing activity for the analysis. The meaning is, be it tax audit, be it a statutory audit, be it even bank audit, the data what you get from the client is not something directly you can use to prepare your analysis or report, right? There is a lot of process between the data what you have received and the output. That process including cleansing. Once you get the data, since the data is not in the structured format, that is into the unstructured format, if I want to do any analysis on the structured format, okay, any analysis, it has to be the structured format. So my first thing I should do is converting the unstructured data into the structured data. This is what we do even in the bank audit. We get the text file data. We cannot apply any logical steps in that text data. So we take the text data, we'll put into Microsoft Excel, we'll do some cleanup activity, we'll prepare it in such a way so that I can use the filters, I can use the sort, I can apply different data analysis techniques, right? That is what we are going to do by taking an example of Tally daybook, how you can convert a Tally daybook into the proper structured format. Once you convert the Tally into the structured format, how you can merge the data with the other data sets and so on. Merging of the data for joining, filtering the data for validations, extraction of data for the documentation, and extraction of the data for reporting. The meaning is, whatever the data which you get from the client, you cannot keep it for the documentation. That is only as a storage, raw data. Extraction of data for the documentation is entirely different. Documentation is something like your working papers. Let's say the client has given you a file where it is having 10,000 JLs, journal entries in last 1 year. In fact, I'm not going to look into all the 10,000 journal entries. I'll do proper analytical procedures. I'll take the sample in such a way, maybe from the cache, some 30 to 40%, maybe from the other aspects, some 10 to 15% and so on. Those all I need to properly document it. In a documentation can be in Excel, or if you are using any tool, you can use it. And whatever the data which you have taken from the client, or whatever the data which you are using for the documentation, may not be the one you are going to put into the reporting. In my case, or in this today's session, the reporting meaning is the tax audit report. That can be 3CB, 3CDR, 3CA, 3CB, 3CD. Okay, so what fields and what type of data will key in, and to key the data, what is your background work? That is very important. Okay, if time permits, I'm sure, in fact, even if I don't get the time to explain these concepts today, but I request you spend some time, Google it. In fact, if you go to the YouTube, n number of videos on the Benford law for the expenses related. In fact, in my channel Excelism itself, you can find 2-3 videos which I was talking about the Benford law, which is one of the great tools which can spend, where you can spend time so that you can at least identify some outliers or anomalies out of the expenses, relative size factor, fuzzy lookup using the Power Query. Okay, I'm just introducing to you. If I explain, that's good based on the time. If not, at least you will get to know that there are features or concepts where you can go and start Googling. I'm sure by next couple of days, you'll have a base idea. For the documentation purpose, many people use the Google form. Even in my office, for the staff, I prepare a Google form. Whatever the work they are doing, I ask them to track in the Google form. Okay, if you are not already using any tools, like any applications like any Audit or CCH, if you want to use something which is very free tool, I advise you to go for a Google form. Google form is one of the best form. Real time you can get the inference, you can get the data. But whenever the person is keying the data into the Google form, not only the staff, even you can give the Google form to the client. Whatever the information you are looking for, let the client put the information into the Google form instead of just telling you over the phone or over the WhatsApp. Ask him to keep into the Google form. Maybe I'm doing an audit where 10 observations I found. You can put all the 10 observations. Besides that, you can put another text box in the Google form. Let them fill the details so that that can be act as a documentation for you. Tomorrow, at least you can showcase that documentation for the peer review, that these all are the queries I identified, and this is what the response I got from the client, and these all are the attachments which can support that activity. But the very important part is Google form data may go into the Google spreadsheet, but Google spreadsheet may not be familiar for everyone. Since I always want to use Microsoft Excel, I can connect to my Google form data, which is there in the Google spreadsheet, to the Excel file. Okay, even if I don't explain this elaborately, I have an Excel file which I'm going to share with you, through which you can understand. See, these all are the cash related transactions we are going to look into by using the different applications. Okay, that's fine. Let's not put too much time into the PPT. Let's go into the work. Okay, before me going into the work, as I said, I tried keeping all the classes of 3CD into one Excel file. Request you to please have a look. It's always a good habit having the templates. The meaning of template is I can use the same thing for n number of clients. The advantage of using the template is consistency is one. If you are having the data of all the clients into the proper format, you can do a lot of analysis. I'm sure you all remember, I'm sure many senior members are also in the session. Till 2010 assessment year, the tax audit was the physical form. From 2010 assessment year, they made it web. They made it, the online form, e-form. What is the reason behind it? For the department, looking into all the physical forms and doing the proper analysis is very difficult, because if it is a physical form, they need to scan it, put into a proper structured data, and again there should be a number of staff who need to key the data and so on. After they introduced the e-filing concept, even in income tax returns or even in tax audit, they need not to do anything. At the back end, there is a schema. Whatever the e-form you fill, that schema you should follow. You, in the sense, whoever are going to prepare the softwares like Winman and so on, or even the income tax return utility. Whatever the tax audit form you are going to file, or X or Y or anyone, all these forms will have a proper structure at the back end. Once you upload this form, this will go and sit into a table. In the table, all the crores of people who are going to upload the tax audit form are available. That means try to visualize a table, whereas in the table one row is belongs to me, the other row is belongs to maybe Mr. Ambani, the other row maybe belongs to some other person. Okay, what department systems does at the back end, they are going to put the filters based on different items. Simply they'll put the filter on the qualification. Out of all the 1 crore tax audit forms submitted, how many has given a qualification, or how many has given an observation? Out of all the tax audit forms filed throughout India, they'll simply put a filter in how many cases where there is a profit shown, which is really not a profit, or else expenses are shown which are disallowed. Then they'll immediately tag this with the income tax return. They'll put different tags based on the seriousity, based on the severity of the the compliance and so on. Understand, if this much of work is happening at the back end, if we are not prepared, what type of data we need to enter, for which what type of data I should gather from the client, we will be into the definitely difficulty position. Okay, that's the reason day by day, the auditor position in the market is so risky, because government is using the tools in such a way where even not even other bigger companies are using. Government is having such a great technology They are using artificial intelligence. They are using data science. They are using analytical tools. So if that is the case, it is very difficult for us until unless we go understand properly, use the proper tool, maintain the proper documentation, so that tomorrow if something comes, I can easily answer. Okay, so the point what I'm trying to tell, try to keep this type of summary before you start doing your tax audit for the season. Okay, there are different colors you can find it. Okay, whatever the colors which are in white doesn't have much severity. It is only just maintaining some master document. You can put some master document somewhere. You can fill all these details very easily. Okay, wherever the green color is little light, that means you can easily identify by just filtering it or by just doing little analytics into that. Let me take an example. Okay, part A is entirely the basic information. I'm sure many people use even income tax return utility than the softwares like Winman. Even if you want to use the Winman, Winman is very simple. If you have last year data, it automatically picks up and keep it into the current year. But my suggestion, I request you at least to fill 3 to 10 forms in a year through offline utility, because there, once you start filling it, you will get to know the subject and you will know what exactly you are filling. Your brain is 100% present. When it comes to the applications like Winman, many a times our brain is absent thinking Winman will take care of everything. Let me tell you, Winman will not take care of anything. How in the tally, if I put a master's bad, the final result or reporting will bad automatically. In the same way, in the Winman, initial data selection, whatever you take it, based on which, in fact, the entire form will get reflected. That means initial form on the first screen, if you don't select 2-3 check boxes, then what will happen? Automatically, those 2-3 related fields in the tax audit will not appear. Those 2-3 related fields in the income tax return will not appear. Then we think whatever the fields which are appearing, we filled it, we completed, we uploaded. Later we realized that a couple of fields we did not fill. I request you at least one, open in the income tax return utility, start filling the details. Okay, so these all are the details how I maintain. You can just put here. Maybe this is not a very great job. You can spend little time. What you can do, let's say my office is having some 100 clients of tax audit. Class 1 to class 8 is a very basic information. You can put the name, address, PAN number or other number, GST number, status, previous year period, assessment year period, and what is the relevant class under 44AB. Once you keep this master data, every year my job is just to update the previous year period and assessment year. That's all. So that the filling of the data will be much more easier for you. This is what the template I'm talking about. Start maintaining the template so that the data will be simple. Not only these things, you can simply go to these partners profit sharing ratio for each, the client of me, what is the partners profit sharing ratio and so on. That means I request you indirectly prepare a database of your clients with exact details. Whatever the details, you can keep it into the Excel, into proper different columns, keep it other than descriptive. Okay, so in case of change, in case of nature of what is the business and so on. In case of change, okay, 10b section is talking, class is talking about in case there is a change, then you should provide the details. 90% of the cases we simply put no. Let me tell you, even department is very clever. Department earlier days has given a lot of text boxes to fill the details. Later they realized on the manual form, they have seen different items. They realized that chartered accountants are the best people to write the text. So they made everything drop down. In the drop down, only 3 options are there. For some of the cases, only 2. Yes, no. In some of the cases, there is one more option called not applicable. Other than these 3, you may not find anything in the tax audit, majority of the cases. That means they're asking you to give an exact reply, whether yes or no. For example, something where you need to provide yes, but you mistakenly select no. That means somewhere wrong. That's the reason you must be careful. Okay. And also for every class you are trying to keep yes or no, make sure that there is an analysis in your documentation is available. For example, how do you know whether there is a change in the nature of business or not? I am sure everyone is having 100 tax audits. You may not ask and look into each and every person. It's very simple for me. I'll just check into the masters comparatively the previous year, how many got added into the revenue side. It can be either SAP or Oracle or Tally. If the GL masters got improved in the credit side, income side, my eyes should automatically go there. Why these 4 masters got improved? Is it because of any vertical got changed? Any vertical started? Is that vertical is entirely a different nature or part of this? Or they want to keep that as a separate line item because of the MIS purpose? Or is there a real change in the nature of the business? So that is one analysis, a simple analysis. Tomorrow you can demonstrate this, stating that for 10B, my answer is no. The reason is I have taken all the credit related information, then I have seen compared with the previous year, I did not find any GL extra master. This is just one item. It doesn't mean this is the only way you can do this. This is one analytical procedure I can follow. Somewhere it must be demonstration. Okay, you should keep it into your Excel or wherever. Okay, then PN profit and loss account includes profit from present to business. See, light green wherever you're finding, that means little analysis is sufficient. But friends, wherever I have given the thicker green, especially when you look into this cash related part and so on, you should do proper analysis using your tally data with Microsoft Excel, with pivot table, with filters, with VLOOKUP function, and so on. Okay, without taking much of the time, let me go another important aspects generally which we are not sure about. And also the other reason why you need to have this is you can start keeping another column, what type of analysis you can do out of this, so that it can be standard. Every year maximum 1-2 classes will get increased, only you need to update that. Okay. And also friends, I'm not sure how many of you aware that once you download the utility from the income tax website, there is one HT file or XML file called errors. I don't know how many of you observed. I observed. I converted that entire JSON or XML or HTML file into the Excel file. These all are the different type of errors your tax audit form captured. That means whenever you are trying to update the form or fill the form, or while you are submitting the form, if you are getting an error, that means that error is 100% present here. We do. I request you, whenever you have a time, please have a look. And also at different levels, is it part of 3CB? Okay, is it part of there are again different section wise errors, there are again different declarations wise error, and level 4 into different levels. And the type of error also I tried capturing it. Is it because required data something you are not entered? Out of 985, 710 are belongs to the required. Let me put a small analysis. Spending some time before doing our audits, before even our audit season, on these will help. And what department is expect you a lot, analyzing your data and so on. Now let me just try to keep I'll not take much time on this. In fact, this is not a core topic. I'm just trying to see. Let me right click and sort this data, largest to small. Out of 985, 664 cases only required information you should put. If you don't put the mandatory information, it's going to say no, Mr. Saran, I'll not allow. 137 cases were invalid entries. It's going to cross check whether it's a valid or not. 109 cases where it's going to talk about the length of, for example, PAN number, it must be 10 characters, firm, membership number or firm number and so on. Just start looking into this whenever you have a time. Okay. And also, whenever it comes to the ledgers, asset register, start always having a group. For example, our fixed asset ledger is there. Okay. In what other cases this particular ledger is having an impact? If you look into the class number 15, capital asset conversion to stock in trade, there is an impact where you can find and start analyzing from the FAR. There is a class number 17, land and building transferred for consideration, less than value adapted or assessed under section 43 CAR 50C. For this again, you can get the data from the FAR or the ledger belongs to the land and building. Check it out. Is there any transaction happened in the previous year? Then only this will get happen. You can simply have a filter. Okay. Whether any, first of all, land and building is there. If yes, are there any transactions in the last year other than the depreciation for the building? Other than this, if result is no, then again check it out. Is class 17 is impacted? If you can prepare a small checklist for this, the job is very simple. Okay, even 18 depreciation details, 16E amount not created to P&L, the capital receipts and so on. When it comes to the employee ledger, again there are two clauses. I request you take each and every ledger based on your client, then start keeping all the clauses which may be helpful where you need to look into, so that whenever I take this, all these clauses will related audit will happen automatically. Okay, this is one thing I just would like to cover. Now let me just close this Excel file. And another important aspect, just for the education purpose, if you look into the 3CD or 3CD form, this got, as I said, introduced in 2010, but somewhere online I can find from 2014 the changes. That means from 2014, all the schema changes they are given in the documentation of PDF. This is a public document available in the Income Tax Department website, through which you can get a lot of knowledge. And every year, what different type of clauses they are improving, so that you will get to know the reason behind the legislative. Okay, so based, what clauses extra they are improving and what are the additional fields they are keeping for the previous clauses and so on. Schema changes on September 4th 2014 and so on. Just check it out. This particular document is having the schema changes till 2020. From 21 onwards, the entire XML related, Java related got changed to the JSON. Now the utility is entirely different. That's the reason they kept into a different table. Just for the understanding, if you just go down, you can find all the changes. Okay, what extra clauses they are asking and what are the things they are changing and so on. You can, whenever you have a time, just go and look into this. I'll not take much time. Let me open this for the recent year. This got updated on March 5th, 2022. That means after this, there is no change in the tax audit form. If you look here, from 2021, this document is giving me entire versions, what type of data got released. If you observe here, let me take the recent one. See, these all are the changes they have done. Assessment year, then part A, assessment year related. Anyway, these three are very common. Then the section related 194P 206AB. These all are the new sections they modified, and 2022 being added and so on. Just go back. If you look into the previous January, there are a couple of changes. Okay, let me just. Documentation is this. And my suggestion, whenever you have a time, just start looking into all these documents. Now, friends, let me analysis part. This is the daybook. Okay, I'm not taking much time taking my data into Tally and from where exporting. I presume everyone aware of exporting the Tally daybook into the Excel. Okay, so this is one of the sample data I have taken. Okay, whenever you get this type of data, as I said, this is an unstructured data. I want to convert this data into properly structured format. Friends, don't worry. Whatever the data available in this entire folder, I'm going to share across to you. Okay, after the session, after my session. Okay, it's very simple for me to share. I need not to share all these files. I'm going to give you the cloud link of my Dropbox. I use the cloud called Dropbox. I'll just give you a link of this folder. I'll share across to you. You can just go and download all these things. Okay. Now let me copy this daybook, paste here so that another copy I can create. This is the working. Okay, let me open this. I follow simple small techniques, friends. This is anyway not required for me. Remove. Okay, control minus, and this is also not required. Remove. From here, there is a shortcut called Control Shift End. Okay, what this shortcut does, it will take, it will select my data from the A1 cell till the last cell. Okay, let me use the filter. Alt, you can go to the data, go to the filter. Otherwise, you can use a shortcut. Okay, Alt DFS. Now, I want to convert this entire data into proper structured form. What I'm going to do, it is very simple for me. Wherever, okay, wherever this date column is there, other than date, I want to remove. Very simple. Okay, because whenever I take other than date, there may be a chance even my credit also will go away. Concentrate everyone. I want this credit should be there. So what I will be doing, I will take other than these two and other than blanks also. So let me unselect the blanks so that the scrap is appearing here. Let me remove this entire scrap. This is not relevant to me. How to select the data? Again, Control Shift End. Okay, Control minus is the shortcut through which you can delete the row or cells. Click OK. What I have done, other than the dates and blanks, I removed everything. But how you can remove this narration? Because for the time being, I don't want the narration. It is very simple. What I can do, I can go to the debit. Wherever debit amounts are there, unselect everything. Go to the end. I want to select the blanks. When debit is a blank, can I simply delete it? No, there may be a case the credit can happen. What I'll be doing now, let me go to the credit. Let me filter for the blanks. If credit, debit, both are blank, that is either a narration or some extra thing which is required for me for the analysis. Anyway, while converting, I don't want this. Let me remove. This can be inventory data, this can be check data, this can be any other data, including the narration. For the time being, I don't want. Control minus, delete it. Please try to understand. I'm just following a couple of steps. Wonderful. Now, whatever the data, this data is relevant for you, okay, for the analysis purpose. But before doing that, I want this date must repeat, okay. But friends, if you look into the ERPs like SAP, Oracle, and so on, for every entry, there is a number called document number. Unfortunately, in the Tally, there is no concept of document number. However, there is a concept called voucher type and voucher number. These two are the unique for the entire entry. But it is always a good habit for me to have one documentation unique number than having two different items of voucher type and so on, right? So it is always good habit if I can prepare a documentation number for each and every entry. For which what I will be doing, okay, I'll do a couple of techniques, but before doing it, these columns are not required. Blanks, 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 blanks. What I can simply do, let me select this, delete. I don't want those, okay, and everything is fine now. Now I will insert one column here, insert a column. I want to keep this column as a documentation number. What is documentation number? This entry belongs to first document. This entry belongs to second document. This entry is a third document. This entry is the fourth documentation number, and so on. Documentation number is nothing but the daybook entry number rather. Okay. Concentrate everyone. I'm going to use small Excel functions to make sure that whatever the analysis I'm going to do will serve the purpose. Okay, equal to. I'll do a simple rule. I'll make a simple rule stating that if this date, for example, otherwise, if this particular cell towards the right side cell is having a date, that means it's a new transaction. Yes or no? That must be the above transaction number plus 1. Do you all agree with me? Yes. Try to understand this rule. If this cell is a blank. When the cell is a blank, that means when the transaction is repeating, it can be blank. So I'll use a simple if function. If whatever the data which is here is equal to blank, if the right side cell is a blank, what is the meaning of it? It is simply the above transaction. Let me select the above cell. Okay, 1 second. Let me select the above cell. I'm just selecting A1. Everyone please concentrate. That means I want above value should repeat. For example, if it is not a blank, the right side cell, I just want above cell plus 1 because my documentation number I have to increase. If I enter, can you tell me what will happen? The right side cell as of now is not a blank. It's having a date. So above cell is a blank plus 1. I'll get 1 year. Whenever I drag this is still 1. Do you know the reason why? Now this is a blank. If it is a blank, I want the above value should appear. Now whenever I drag it, this will become 2. Do you know the reason why? This is not a blank. When this is not a blank, above value plus 1. Let me drag till the end. That means there are 3,485 entries are there in my tally. Okay, concentrate everyone. The very important data cleansing, data preparation activity I'm doing for you. Now, simply after this, I'll put, you know what, formulas in one sheet so that next time you can understand what exactly it is. Okay, this is a document number. Now let me go here. Let me select this column, copy paste special values. Why? I don't want any formulas now. Click OK. Now let me give the title called documentation number, doc number. I hope everyone understood how I have given a unique entry for each and every item of the day. But friends, as I said, this date must appear even here. This date must appear even here. This date must appear in all these cases. Instead, me doing a manual activity, let me select all the blanks. Okay, so let me select this. You can simply go to F5, special. There is an option called visible cells. Otherwise, even using a shortcut, you can select the visible cells. You know what is a shortcut? Alt colon. Whenever you use alt colon, and I'm sure this visible cells you can select. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, thank you. Now what I want, I have selected this data. I want to fill the above value here. I'm sure you all agree. Equal to above cell. What is above cell? B2. Whatever there in the B2 cell, please take here. But friends, I want to apply the same formula in the entire selected area. What is the meaning of it? Whenever this formula is there, I want to paste into the entire selected area. What I can simply do, either you can enter, copy this, select the area, do Control V, otherwise use a shortcut called Control plus Enter. Okay, don't worry. This is in the text format. That's the reason it is giving you here as just the formula. I'll remove that. What I'll be doing now, have a look. I will just go to the Home tab. Because there is a different format, I will go to the eraser symbol here, Home tab, clear formats, so that existing format will get eliminated. Equal to B2, Control Enter. Wow. Above data got repeated here. If anyone having any question in this process, please let me know. I'm going a little slow, don't worry. Okay, now you can remove the filter. Wonderful. Wherever there is a data, it got repeated below. No problem about the colors and everything, later we'll change it. At the same time, I want my voucher type also should be repeated. So what I'll be doing, select the blanks. Now you can do the same activity. You need not to ask me. Select this, go to the Home tab. I want to remove the format because I don't want to trust the previous format. Then what I wanted to do It's very simple. I can simply equal to above cell, right? What is above cell? It is D2, control percent. Wow. Everything got repeated if you observe. Now, in the same way, the voucher number, let me go to the end. There are blanks. So what I can simply do, select this, then you can go to the home tab, then you can format existing, it's going to delete. Now what I want equal to, sorry, equal to above cell. It is E2 control percent. Wow. Just remove the filter. Wonderful. I think 80% of my job is over. Now what I'll be doing, I can simply copy this data. In fact, okay, another one important thing I forget to do, that's fine, because anyway, it's part of the format. How do you know that this CR is part of the format? This is not there in the formula bar. That means if you put any of the format of comma and so on, the CR will go automatically. This is only for the display. Now I converted my unstructured data into the structured data. These all are the formulas, right? I have not taken any formula other than that. Let me select this entire data, Control C. What I can do, go here, paste special values so that unnecessary format will go away. Then expand the column width. I can select my headings, bold. Then I can select this dates. I can just go to the home tab. Let me put into the proper date format, right? And also it's always good habit to keep debit and credit into the comma format with 0 decimal. Now anyway, okay, in schedule 3, I think you need to put into the thousands. You can use a function called round off and so on. Wonderful. Now this is what my data, or else all transactions. Okay, I want to analyze this data. Now friends, it is very simple. The debit or credit must be a GL master. Somewhere in the GL, this must be there. So what I wanted to do, I want to insert one single sheet called all GLs. Okay, let me go back. Copy this entire data, Control C. Just go here, Control V. But it can repeat, right? What I can do, I can go to the data. There is an option called remove duplicates. Let me click OK. Wow, all duplicates got removed. That means for this particular client, there are 206 GLs are there through which last 1 year data flown. Okay, now this is what the GL name. I hope you all are following the session. So I'm just converting my unstructured data to the structured data, and I kept all the GLs. Now I want to do an analysis with respect to the GL. The problem with the tally is if you want to have all the cash related, only cash related line items you can export. I want to get all the cash related journal entries or cash related receipts, payments, everything, including debit, credit, and everything. I don't think so that is possible. So what I can do here, I want to have the sample GL. There is one item. Okay, all transactions are there. Then all GLs are here. Sample GL. Just as an example, always we have a curiosity to look into the cash transactions because there is very risky part because we are certifying our tax audit. Always it's good if we can keep an eye into that. What I can do here, I can just put sample GL, a title. I can put a drop down. How to keep the drop down? Go to the data tab, go to the data validation. In the data validation, there is an option called list. I can go to the source, all the GLs, just select all these GLs, click OK. Wow. So that I can just take here the cash. What happened? Whenever I take cash, now I am asking you back a question. I want to analyze all the cash related journal entries. Could you please tell me, is there any methodology through which I can do this? It's very simple. I'll go to all transactions. I'll filter for cache. But there is a problem, right? If you filter for cache, try to understand. If you filter for cache, only cache items are coming. But the other leg I want to find. Then what you need to do, you can copy this document number, then you can paste somewhere here. These all are the cache doc numbers. Then you can go there and use the Vlookup function. Okay, how to use the Vlookup function? Try to understand. Vlookup equal to Vlookup. Look for this value where within this, if it is available, get the first column value as an answer. If it is NA means this is not relating to cache, that means not relating to documentation which belongs to cache. There is a number means those all are belongs to the cache. What I can simply do other than NA, let me select. That means these all are the documents, these all are the transactions belongs to the cache related entries. I can simply go here and I can do Control V. Wow, these all are the cash related transactions. There is an entry deposit, there is an entry sales, cash sales, and so on. You can just start going into that and you can start analyzing. But if I go and change this to, for example, purchases, do you think will it happen automatically? No. That is what the problem with manual work. I don't encourage, because while you are working, you must be very careful to work. So you must know the tools which are helpful for you to do this activity automatically. Don't worry. Next part, I'm introducing you a concept called ETL. What is ETL concept? You can extract the data and you can transform the data and you can load the data back wherever you want. Okay, let me put the name called ETL concept. Okay, please try to understand. What is ETL concept? E means you can extract the data from any source. T means you can transform the data in whatever the shape you are looking for. L means you can load the data back into Microsoft Excel or Power BI for the analysis purpose. The biggest advantage of Microsoft Excel is Excel is having inbuilt ETL concept called Power Query. I in fact introduced in the same SIRC seminar 2 years back, where the Power Query was in the very initial stage. Now the entire world is working on the Power BI. The backend of the Power BI is the Power Query. The backend of the Microsoft Excel is the Power Query. The backend of the data flows of Microsoft is Power Query. Okay, so if you want to become master into the data analysis, you can write down now. After 3 years, we'll discuss the world BI gonna lead. Okay, BI will lead the world, business intelligence. Out of the BI tools, Power BI is something from the Microsoft, very user friendly and cheapest. Of course, you have one of the greatest applications called Tabular, ClickView, and so on. But Power BI advantage is it is already integrated with the Microsoft Office applications. Out of 90% of the spreadsheet users in the world, they use Microsoft Excel. Maybe 10% use different spreadsheets. When people are using Microsoft Excel, when people are using Microsoft Word document, people are using the Outlook, or people are using the PowerPoint, it is very easy to integrate into the Power BI. You can do a lot of analysis into the Power BI. But if you want to analyze the data, there must be some transformation work you should do at the backend. That is what the Power Query. Power Query is same in Microsoft Excel, is same in the Power BI, is same in the data flows, is same in the Dataverse, what it is talking about. Okay, just to introduce you, where is the Power Query in Microsoft Excel? Go to the data tab. There is an option called Get Data. Are you finding there is an option called Launch Power Query Editor? Click, you will find, you will get, it will get open another page, another window. This is what the Power Query Editor. Nothing is visible or active now because no query is there at the backend. Let me open even the Power BI. I'm sure you can find the Power BI desktop here. Just to introduce you the latest tools which will lead the world tomorrow, including the audit profession. Okay, so it's very simple. What you can do, just go to the transform data, just click it. It is taking you to where? Power Query Editor. This Power Query Editor and this Power Query Editor both are almost one and the same. Okay, the Power BI, there are extra tools are there, but other than that, here there are no tools. Other than that, everything is same. Okay, that is what the greatest advantage of learning the Power Query. Okay, so I'm sure in next 5 years, how people were spending money for learning Excel, how people were spending time for learning Excel, and it is equally good. People will spend money and time for the Power Query so that it can save the time and work for the people. You will get to know with a small example how great this tool is. Right, so ETL concept is it can extract the data from any source. It can be from Excel file, it can be from folder, it can be from PDF, it can be from web, it can be from ODBC. Okay, it can be from SQL, it can be from SQL, and so on. You can do the transformation at the backend, and you can load the data back into Excel. Now what I'm going to do, I want to take all these transactions. I want to take all these transactions into my Power Query at the backend. Concentrate. I am going a little towards the advanced topic. Okay. Let me go to the data tab. In the data tab, get data from other sources from a range. This is what the range I want to import into the Power Query. But what Excel tells you, Sharan, I cannot take a range, but I can only take a table. So it is converting this range into the table. No problem. Let it convert into the table. Let this data load at the backend into the Power Query Editor. Let me give the name of this Power Query, this query as all transactions. Okay, wonderful. The advantage of the Power Query is whatever the transformation steps you are doing, it record everything right side. Okay, friends, change type in the sense it is automatically recognizing each column is belongs to what. See, document number must be a number. I want to take a whole number. Then date is date format, this particular column. This particular column must be the text format. This particular column must be the text format. This particular column is also the text format. The debit must be the number format. So let's go to the whole number. And even the credit must be the whole number. Let's go to the whole number. Okay, it is very important to give the data types so that it will get to know at the backend whether it has to filter the category items or whether it has to aggregate the values like numbers. No problem. Now I loaded this data. Let me close and load to. You may ask the question, Sharon, am I need to load this data back into my Excel? Not required. Why? Because already there is my own data. Why I need to get this data back? So let me create this as a connection. That means I have taken this data into my Power Query. I stored there. Wonderful. Now let's go to the sample GL. This is what the sample GL, right? Let me also load this data to my Power Query. Okay, it's asking me to convert it to the table. No problem. Click it. It has taken my data. I can simply take sample GL. Wow. What happened now? There are two tables at the backend. One is all transactions. The other one is a sample GL. Not a problem. But what exactly I am looking for? Can you tell me? I want all entries relates to the cash and that should come here, or else that should come here. So let me have here. Okay, remove this. I want all entries with respect to cash. Now what I need to do, I should combine this table with this table. But whenever I am trying to combine this cash with here, only cash related items will come to me. Not a problem. So that I'll get the documentation number first. So in Power Query, there is a concept called merge. What I can do, get data, combine queries. I want to combine two queries. First query is all transactions. Second query is sample GF. I want to tell what is the common item. I want to tell sample GL from this table, and I want to tell particulars from this table. What it is giving me, the selection matched 981 of 12,000 records, Mr. Saran. That is what it is saying. Okay, what I can do, I don't want left outer join. That means left outer join means all items from the left table will come, but I don't want. What I want, there is an option called inner join. Inner join in the sense only the matched item out of 12,246, 981 got matched, right? Those items I want to extract from this table. Not a problem. If I click OK, it will take the data to the Power Query editor, and it has given me all the cash related transactions here. Try to understand, guys. Very important. Okay. Now let me give the name of this as sample GL transactions. Yes or no? Yes. Because sample GL, in sample GL, there is a cash. I extracted cash related. But is it the one you are looking for? No. I want the entire entry belongs to the cash, so that I'll get to know, okay, what is the other leg? Is it an income leg? Or is it a capital receipt leg? Or is it an expenditure leg? Or is it an advance leg? Or is it something relates to the liability payment? Okay, no problem. I can simply right click. I don't want any other column. Remove other columns. Wonderful. If you observe carefully, it has recorded the steps. Source, remove other columns. Now what I want is, let me close and load. Once you click close and load, that particular data got appeared here, but I don't want this data. Let this data be here only as a connection. Now what I'll be doing, I want to do the merge now. Careful with this step. This time again, I want to merge two tables. Now there is a query called all transactions having the entire daybook. Now there is another query called sample GL transactions. Now what happened, I am going to merge this table with this table, keeping the common item documentation number. Now what I need to do, I want to take inner join. Inner join means from both the tables, whatever the matching, please only consider. If I take left outer join means consider all items from the left table, but what are available only in the right table. Okay. Whenever I say right outer join means consider from the right table only available in the left table. If I, for example, keep full table means some are available in first table, some may be available in second table, some are common. But to take all the transactions from all the tables, that's the meaning of it. Let me take in this case, inner tables means only matching rows. Not a problem. Let me click OK. If I click OK, it has taken me to another query. This query name, I want to keep it as a sample GL all transactions. Okay, that means debit, credit, both. See, I don't want this column. Let me remove this column. I want to get this data back into my Power Query. What I'll be doing, close and load to. What I want to do, I want to get this data into my table format, into existing worksheet. From here, if I just click OK, what happened, the entire cash related entries I am finding here. Try to understand. Now let us see how this Power Query work. I want to know about the freight related. I have selected freight. Do you need to do all these steps again? No. The advantage of Power Query, once you do couple of steps, remaining steps will automatically work for you. Let's go to the data tab, refresh. Do you think all the freight related entries will appear? Of course. Let me refresh. Boom. Check it out. There is an entry called 3 where there is a freight where you can start doing the analysis. Guys, please have a look. I'm just trying to take into the Power Query just for your knowledge. Again, let me put a disclaimer that by just attending 1 hour, 1.5 hour session, you may not learn the Power Query end to end. But why I'm talking about Power Query while analyzing the data? Only I want to tell you that at least there is a concept you will get to know, and you will start doing the analysis once you go back to the home, or else you will get to know that this concept is make your work easy, and you can ask your staff to learn these tools and techniques. Okay, so now let's say, for example, I want to do some analysis with respect to let's take something like in some company called bank charges. No problem. What I can do, I can just go to the data, refresh. Now what I can do, I'll just copy this, Control C. I can just go to some other place, pay special values. Now let me rename this as a bank charges analysis. You can ask maybe one staff to analyze this data, as simple as it. Okay. Now let's go here. Now I want to do some analysis with respect to maybe Hamali. I want to know, because more cash part you can find in the Hamali related. Now refresh. These entries are Hamali, belongs to the Hamali. Just copy, then you can put another field, Hamali entries. Control V. Sorry, pay special values. You can also do Control V, but it will come as a text format. Wow. Now you can just put into the 2 columns, then you can just start doing the filters, do whatever you want. Now you can take each and every class of your uh, uh, tax audit form, then try to see what GLs may be helpful to you, then start filtering those GLs, then take the data. And not only this, can I tell you something? You can even remove this, Control minus. Once you remove that, still your query is there at the backend. Sample all GL all transactions. Now let me load it to, this time I want to load it into the pivot table. Okay. Do you want to get the pivot table into the same Excel? No. I want to get the pivot table into the different Excel. Otherwise, you can keep it into the same Excel. I want to get the pivot table into the same Excel from here. If I click OK, earlier the entire data came as a table, appeared as a table, but this will appear only as a pivot table now. Automatically, from that data, the entire records are presenting here. Now, can I do something? Let's take the document number here. Let's take the particulars here. Now, let me take the date here. Okay, the column label. Otherwise, you can remove the dates, not a problem. Remove this, remove this, remove this. I want to take debit here. I want to take credit here. Check it out. What happened? Okay, so now I can simply put into the comma format. Now what I'll be doing this, I don't like it actually. I want to put into the report layout. I can just go here, report layout into the tabular form, and this is what the entry is. So let me reduce the column width, not a problem. Okay, now I don't want this colorful colors. Let this be very blank, not a problem. Now what I can do, I can just start taking this bold, then whatever this, you can, if you want, you can keep it bold. That's all. Now I want maybe the not this, 1 second, insert a blank line after each item so that it is good for the analysis. Now you can put your analysis. Is there any remarks you want to get out of this? Then you can get it. Now what happened, if I go and change this maybe to a particular person name, or else credit note, I want to have a look, just go to the data, refresh. Do you think this entire table will change it as a credit note related? Of course. Wow. Now you can start putting it. So this everything, is it not like a documentation which I'm going to even show to the peer reviewer tomorrow if he comes, dear, this is the way I have done my entire audit. Okay, so out of my classes in the tax audit, there are 6 classes which belongs to the cash related. There are 5 classes which belongs to the TDS related. There are 10 classes which belongs to maybe another item fixed assets related. Then you take the fixed assets. When you think even these items are many, then you can even take out of the documents only the samples. Only those out of those samples only you can start working, as simple as it. Till here, any question? I'm just going on. Okay, so any question till here? Sorry, I'm just introducing you new applications all the time, so that I want you to go back, learn, so that you will get to know the advantage of it. Till here, if any question, I can take up. Otherwise, I have anyway another 10 minutes. Shivaprasad sir, are you there in the session, sir?
Yes, sir. He's there, sir.
I'm not finding the screen. I'm not sure the reason why.
Maybe you need to go to webcam and start showing webcam, sir. Under that, there is option drop down where share my webcam.
Okay.
Or start
Yeah,
showing
stop
webcam.
sharing the
Show all, no, show all webcams. If you show, it will be visible.
always in front. Okay, is it?
No, not that one, sir. I'm talking about the separate panel where you can see webcam. This thing, right? In that.
Yeah, there is a webcam in the drop down is there. In
In
that,
the drop
stop
down you can
sharing the
see.
webcam option is there. Stop sharing my webcam, hide my webcam, always in front, and there is a preferences. Okay, anyway, that's fine.
Not able to see the, are not able to see the webcam, sir? Are you able to see yourself? No.
I can see the webcam, but I cannot see you or Shivaprasad or anyone. That's fine. Okay. Any question?
1 minute, sir. Around 6:20, they just ask you to summarize ETL steps alone. There's not much questions actually, since they need to work it out and see.
Okay. They want me to summarize the ETL steps. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll do it again quickly for them. Okay. I request them to please have a look.
Anyway,
Okay,
so the recordings will be shared so they can rewatch again. Yeah.
Yeah, they can. I'm going to share this, but it's good if I can revise quickly. I can just go to the queries. Let me remove all these queries. Let me right click. Okay. So I'm going little fast for next 10 minutes. Please have a look. Just to repeat all this. Okay. Now I don't want this because this came from the end. Control minus, delete everything. Okay. So I hope till here everyone knows that what is sample GL and all the transactions. I want to first take this data into my Power Query. I will just get data from other sources from table. Otherwise, directly you can available here. Just store it. You need not to do anything at the backend. Just keep it as it is. Okay. Just convert this into the date format. This is the only extra step probably for this is the only extra step they need to do. Otherwise, remaining everything it identified automatically. There is no problem. Okay. So let me change this as all transactions. All transactions. Right? So close and load to. I don't want to get this data into my Excel. So only create as a connection. Wonderful. Now let me go to data. Sorry. Let me go to sample GL. Okay. This is what a drop down. I'm sure everyone aware how to get the drop down. But whenever I change a separate account, this should come automatically. So I'll go to the data, I'll get data, other sources, table. Otherwise, you can directly click this. This is also going into my sample GLs. Sample GLs. Okay, it can be one or sometimes it can be even more also. Right? So close and load it to. I just loaded 2 queries at the backend. Now I have to combine these 2 queries together. What I need to do, let's go to the data, get data, combine queries. I want to merge. There is a difference between merge and append. Merge is basically looking into the common column, joining both. Append is basically keeping the data one below other. In this case, I want to merge my all transactions with sample GLs. What is the common column? Sample GL here, particulars here. But don't take left outer join, because if I take left outer join, all from my this table will come. I don't want all. I want wherever it matches to create node. So I want only the matching rows from the tables. Let me click OK. Right now, this is sample GL docs. That means whatever there in the sample GL, all these GL related document numbers I'm finding here. But I don't want all of the columns except the document number. Right click and remove other columns. Why? Because I want to extract all these document number related entries now. So what I wanted to do now, I want to keep this as a separate GL. I want to merge, just go and merge the queries. Please have a look. Either you can go back to Excel and merge, or else you can directly merge from here. Anything is fine. Only create as a connection, click OK. So that all sample GLs will come. Now I can go to the data. I want to just merge the data, go to the data, get data, combine queries, merge. Now you should merge all transactions. Is it with sample GLs? No, sample GL docs. Why? My documentation number is here. Doc number, I want to have which are only matching. Let me click OK. So there are 66 items which got matched. Now let me give the name of this as sample GL entries. Very good, right? Enter. Now I want to load this to my Microsoft Excel. Load to, do I need to get it as a table? If you get it as a table, it will give you the entire line items, but I want to analyze, right? I want to keep it as a pivot table report. Let it keep it as a pivot table report into the other Excel file, sample GL entries. Now here you can keep the documentation number. Here you can keep the particulars. Then you can have a debit. You can have a credit. I did nothing except this, but I did a couple of changes to the design. I want to make it as a small tabular form. I don't want, one second. I want to have a blank rows where it is. Yeah, repeat items. Yeah, insert a blank item after each item. I don't want different colors. Let it be very plain, not a problem. Okay, so this is what my documentation with respect to the freight. Now you can see, sorry, create note. You can see create note, right? Now if I go back to my sample GL, if I change it as a, now I want to start doing the analysis of interest. I want to know whether it's a bank interest or something else. Refresh. What happened? Just go to this. Only one entry is there. Nagarjuna Fertilizers and Chemicals. There is an interest of 64. Okay. So I want to do another little analysis, maybe with respect to, let's see, all these are data are great. I want to see the suspense, how much suspense are there, so that it can be a direct point for me to ask the question my client. See, there are n number of entries in the suspense, but not very major. Maybe belongs to 20,000, 10,000. Total put together is 2,09,000 worth of suspense is there. I can start asking the question the client, what is the suspense, and so on. So yeah, that's all from my end, guys. I kept all these files. In fact, due to the paucity of time, I am just closing here. And also, just before closing my session, let me tell you one important thing to convert your Google Form data into your Excel, so that you will get to know what exactly it is. Whenever, guys, let me open. Sivaprasad sir, is it okay? I can take 10-15 minutes. Are you, Sivaprasad sir, are you there? Yeah, let me go to the Chrome. Generally, how you'll find the forms? Yeah, you can find a forms like this. Let's say this is the form. I'm just trying to give it to all of you in the chat box. Let me share with you all in the chat box. Let me go to the shorten, Control C, copy. Okay, friends, I request you, whenever I'm going to share this in the chat box, Salva, can all members see my message?
Yes, sir. You
Share
just
something
put
in
it
the
in
chat
chat
box.
box. I'll put it in. Yeah, you can put it in chat box. I'll put it all audience. You just put it in chat box.
Yeah, there is a Google form. I request everyone to please open it first. I'll request everyone, please open this first.
1 minute.
one or two members can please give a confirmation whether this form is properly opened at the backend.
1 minute. I just need to
No
share it
problem.
with-
I think I also kept to the organizers and the panelists only. Okay, okay, no problem. Fine.
Okay, I made it.
I request all the participants, please open this. Once it get open, could you please download it? Could you please start filling it? You can start filling it a little later. Just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. As you know, Google form is very simple. You can just prepare whatever the queries you want or whatever the fields you want. Once you click this icon, this entire data will come and sit into your Google spreadsheet. But analyzing my data into Google spreadsheet may be a little difficult because Vinny is someone from the Bangalore already filled the data. I can find it, but wait, I request you to please wait. But I want this data may be helpful for my documentation. I want to connect using the Power Query or else something I want to build from my Power BI. So what I want is, I want this data should come into my Microsoft Excel. What I can do, I can go to the share. I request everyone, please wait. I'll just go to the share. I request everyone don't fill the information. Please wait for some time. Are you finding there is an option here? Anyone having this link? Okay. I want to give an access of editor. Okay, I hope everyone understood. Open the Excel file, spreadsheet, Google spreadsheet, go to the share. Anyone having the link can edit this form. Copy link. Since the link is anyway with me, I will just go here. I will paste here. Okay. This is what generally your Google link looks like. This is what generally your Google link looks like. It's having docs.google.com, then it is spreadsheet, then D. This is what the entire code of your Google form. Okay, this is a unique code. This is the unique code. Okay, now out of this, wherever edit is there, put export here. Wherever USB is there, put format. Wherever sharing is there, put XLSX. What I'll be doing, I'll just copy here. I'll paste here. Wherever edit is there, what I need to do, put export. Wherever USB is there, what I need to do, put format. Wherever sharing is there, XLSX, because XLSX is a Excel spreadsheet. That means I want to export this particular link of the document at the backend into the format of XLSX. Now you can copy this. You can go to the data, get data from other sources. That is nothing but from a web source. Now what I can do, I can put my URL, click OK. Now it's going to the back into the browser and read the data which is there in this link. Wow. It found there is a sheet called form responses. Okay. So you can go to the transform data, then you can load back to the Excel. Since already this data, everything is fine, or else let me go to the transform data. Okay. Now let this be time and date stamp, not a problem, or else let me keep the date time only. Why? Because anyway, today is the all belongs to today. Let it keep the time, right? Now I want to keep this name is test Google form, right? Now close and load this data into my Microsoft Excel. Guys, what happened? The entire data is coming into my Excel. Now what I'm going to do, I close this. I will even close this. I will even close this. Not a problem. Now I request you people, please fill the Google form. I request everyone, please fill the Google form. Maybe whoever nearby, whoever already filled, that's fine. If not, since it's a sample Google form, you can fill it. That's not a problem. Once I go and start refreshing, do you know what happened? Let me go and refresh. Oh, still 10? No. I request you please fill the, yeah, there is one Google form called hi. I don't know. See, what happened, whenever I refresh, let the people fill the data at the back end. I can get here. Okay, so earlier 10 records are there. It got updated now. There's a person, Naveen, fill the data. Then Vinita Baldota, fill the data, and so on. Let me refresh. Let me see, are there anyone? Yeah. See, Ashik, Challa Krishna from Chennai, and so on. Small tools in our regular day-to-day work make our work more easy. If you all are interested, can I tell you one automation logic for you so that you can start working with your customize with your tally person? Whoever deal with the MSME data, whoever deals with MSME data for MSME clients, okay, leave about tax audit for the time being for next 5 minutes. Many a times we prepare the we take the bank statement of MSME clients and we ourselves will prepare the books of accounts. What we do, we ask the client to come month end along with the bank statement. The client will sit along with our staff in the tally. Then our staff started filling the information, looking into the bank statement. Client is going to explain what this entry, what is debit, what is credit. Understand a situation what I spent 5 days back in my phone pay or Google, sorry, in my net banking, I may not remember. How can client remembers last 1 month transactions? That's the reason many things are not correct. Then client ask you to keep in the suspense. Client will not come back. Then client may give wrong information and so on. Instead, what I can do, I can give a small Google form whenever the client is trying to expend or trying to get the money. I'll ask client to just put 2 3 drop down boxes and keep expense. Then next first field is an expense in my Google form, or else drop down. This is a drop down. This can be expense or income or deposit or withdrawal. Simple, right? If it is an expense, then immediately next, whatever the deposit or withdrawal, we need not to do anything. If it is an income or expenditure, immediately the next text box we need to give, provide the details, remarks. These days, everyone are using the phone. Once I use a Google form where there is a text box, automatically my keypad will open. In the keypad, there is a speaker symbol. Once you click the speaker, let him speak whatever he want about that expenditure. Let him speak whatever he want in the income. At least there is some storage of his data at the backend. It will not take much time. In fact, I am implementing this same with 1 or 2 clients. Okay, they will simply take the data. They will just give you the voice message. Okay, I spent this money for this customer. I spent this money for this client. Okay, for this vendor, I'm sorry. I got this money from this customer and so on. Very simple. Let him even talk in the vernacular language, whatever the language he knows, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, let it be. Now this entire data is coming into Microsoft Excel using this technique, what I have just now done. Then you call a TDL guy. Then you call a TDL guy who can write a small TDL code for you. Automatically, this data will go and sit into your tally as an entry. Okay. So what you can simply do, if you have 10 clients like this, if they are filling the details, at the end of the day, open a company in the TDL, just refresh here, then go to the TDL tally and refresh there. All the entries till the day will go and sit into the tally. I need not to do anything. My staff need not to do anything. First entries will go and sit there. Let the client come on month end with the bank statement. Since he only spoken, he knows what the language he has spoken. Then I just simply need to change the narration into the formal than informal what he has spoken. Understand this? Very simple automation, make my work more simple. Okay, you can find a TDL guys who can you can spend some 5,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees. He can build a great TDL. These TDLs can be used, for any number of times. Okay, this just go on when I talk about the applications. It will not limited to one application or 2 applications. There are n number of applications which can save our life. That's all from my end. Over to you, Shivaprasad sir.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kumar sir. Sivaprasad sir, you're not audible, sir. Unable to hear you. No, sir. You need
Let me
to.
also give. Sir, if you don't mind, Selva sir, I'm going to share this Dropbox link with all of the
Yes,
members.
yes.
Whatever
You
I have
post
done
it, sir.
till
I'll,
now.
I'll share it to among
Yeah,
audience.
yeah. Now let me just go to Dropbox and share. They can
Sivaprasad
view
sir,
this
in the mean,
entire data, sir. Guys, this entire data PDFs you can find. Yeah, I shared across to you, Selva. Probably you can
yes,
share
I'll
across
share
to
it
them.
to all audience.
Yeah, please.
So thank you so much for your time spent here in spite of a busy schedule and for your continuous support here to SARC, and we look forward to have
Yeah,
you
always,
for.
always, sir. SARC is like
Yes, sir.
our own region. So,
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sivaprasad sir,
is there
for
Shivprasad, sir?
yours, sir, your audio is not getting here, sir. It seems. Can you go to audio option and choose no audio and choose audio against computer audio? Sir, are you able to hear Sivaprasad sir, sir? Sanat Kumar, sir? All right.
No, I cannot hear Shivprasad.
Okay, I'll just check with him, sir. Give him a call. Am I audible? Okay, so in the mean, sir, no, sir, you're not audible, sir. Not on system actually. Now that
Now am I audible on the?
You're audible. Yes, you're audible. Now you're audible. Yeah.
Yeah, I connected to Bluetooth now.
Okay.
Bluetooth microphone, it is picking up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anyway, it is
Yeah.
picking up
Anyway,
without plugging.
yeah, true.
I'll give you the presenter rights.
Yeah.
Yes, presenter rights given, so you can start the session. So welcome. Click on show my screen. It will land on the page if there is any PPT or whatever that's going to be shared.
Yeah.
Sir,
Hello.
you said you have joined. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I am audible. Yeah.
Yes, you're audible.
Visible, presentable, everything is okay now.
Presentable. That you to start sharing a screen. So which one you're going to use?
Yeah, I just share my screen and I check.
I need to make you a presenter. So, all right. I need to make you a presenter. Okay, now you just click on show my screen. It will land on the desktop screen. You can navigate among any documents.
And can I have the video also while I'm presenting?
Yes, sir. It will be overlapping the screen that is getting shared. You can minimize it, keep it in any one corner because it's not like Zoom.
Yeah.
It will like a separate panel. It will be visible.
Fine.
Yeah, a screen is not yet shared, sir. Can you click?
So I'm saying show my screen. Yeah.
Yeah, now I can see the GoToWebinar this thing page actually, and you can navigate among documents now. Now it's showing that
okay.
Audit.
Some data is up.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So where is it? I can see myself here.
It should be coming over. If you click on the application, it will come on front. So while you're sharing a screen, automatically the video will go to the backstage. Still, you'll be visible to the audience since camera is picking up. If you click on application to come on front, you need to minimize. You're minimizing now, right? That is only visible to you actually. The separate window. For audience, it will be different window which we have seen when Sivaprasad is presenting.
Yeah. So shall we go ahead or shall we?
Yes,
I think we'll have taken a small break also.
No, sir. It's we have given 2 to 3 minutes. We have rejoined it, so no problem, sir. We can continue with this.
Yeah. So I think I can go ahead.
Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah. So welcome all, and there was some small technical glitch where we lost few minutes of time because of the permissions issue, and somehow the microphone of mine hadn't picked up. I welcome all, and I thank SIRC for giving this opportunity to present on the topic. And okay, if had it been a physical seminar, there could be an eye contact, and I could make something out of that. But that unfortunately that is missing. Yeah, and that was a very great presentation by our professional brother, Mr. Saran, as usual. So yeah, he had demonstrated us the power of Excel, the power of automation. In fact, I'm deep into audits for quite a long time, and the power of automation or the need of automation cannot be overemphasized. Otherwise, we'll be ending up doing the routine work more than the professional judgment or the exact areas that require our professional judgment or professional knowledge. And As usual, like any chartered accountant's initial days, I have started my journey with Excel, and then it went on with a lot of formulas, spreadsheets, templates, and then to macros, and then to Power Query, and then using the Power Visualizations through Power BI or Tabular, some kind of that stuff. Okay, and by the way, a small correction. I got the rank, whatever is said, the 4th and the 7th in CMA, not in CA. So I just want to keep it on proper record. Anyway, myself, Sharan, Vijay Srinivas, and we are a few team members who are working on technology together, and then working on various projects. We are also doing automation on need-based or consultancy-based. To the end of that had given us an opportunity to look into this subject, and I'm a bit more fascinated. And then I also joined the data science with ISB, which is a course where we go through the exact data science. So the ETL and the ELT concepts Sharan had spoken. So that we get to see and we get to work at a greater detail. Now, what happens is, with the small applications or open-ended applications like Excel or Power Query or Power BI, they allow us to do whatever we want. But then that requires some sort of an advanced knowledge from the side of the user. Okay, so Power Query and Power Pivots are very high level to talk about. Even the VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, and the fuzzy lookup, these kind of things also, there is a lot of requirement of the skill from the article students or whoever they take up the work. Okay, so that had motivated to work on various tools, settings, and all. And I mean, I'm not endorsing any product, or I'm not endorsing into any one particular company or like that. I'm only talking about the utility, but then we cannot talk about the utility unless we take certain example or a name. So I am actively providing some sort of a knowledge transfer on automation and the domain expertise to build some systems where the total audit can be automated end to end, right? From planning, and then data collection, data analytics, sampling, and then putting it to a certain checklist or a questionnaire, and then to generate a particular documentation at the end. Mostly the chartered accountants, we all know that our times are sliced a lot. Like, in a sense, April, May, June will be busy with certain kind of income tax returns, or the bank audits and the closures of the listed companies. And then the next 3 months, Q2, we will be very busy with the tax audits. So therefore, all the work is concentrated to one particular time frame, and all the clients will come at a particular time frame. So that makes our lives very busy. In a sense, everybody will start pouring in at a very limited time window. Okay, this is in a way good, and this is in a way a challenge which we chartered accountants have to face. So what happens with that is, maybe with a lot of care, caution, we may be exercising the professional judgment and the compliance of the tax laws. We may be doing our audits with all with the thorough professional knowledge, but then whatever the work that we are doing may not be properly recorded. So if somebody asks, what is the audit methodology that we have applied for 40A2B or 40A3, or how this particular annexure was filled out for a tax audit, tomorrow we can see with this faceless assessment, and then with this change in the way the regulator is working, there are direct notices being given to the chartered accountants as well. Anyway, leaving it apart, even as per our professional conduct and the auditing standards, we are supposed to maintain the documentation, and we are also supposed to maintain a workflow where we are picking up a proper sample, and then it is allocated to the staff, and the staff turnover is also a very big challenge. So in order to meet all of this, what we require a system. We require an ERP kind of a system. By ERP, what I mean is, I'll just elaborate on ERP a little further. By ERP, what I mean is, When there are multiple modules and all modules are related together, then it is called enterprise-wide solution. That is what makes us enterprise ERP, means enterprise resource or whatever enterprise resource knowledge and all. So therefore, in the audit, if we see, collecting data is one module, analysis and picking up the sample is one module, allocating the work to the team and then seeing where each work is, like task management, which work is pending, which work had gone, which are pending works or which are overdue, that is one. Let me stop the screen because I'm not, yeah, no problem. Yeah. So what happens is, so this is another vertical, and then collection of the evidences, that is one vertical, and then preparation of the workings, calculations, that is one vertical, giving a report with some model answers, picking up a proper answer, putting it in the report, taking a printout of that, doing the spell check, grammar check, and then coming to the drafting part of the report and delivering, that is one part. And then the documentation, which shows how the audit is done. Okay, documentation does not mean collecting all the documents that are collected or the photocopies and all the working papers or the rough notes that are done during the course. That is not documentation by any means. The peer review and the standards on audit quality, and then institute has also released two documents, very, very important documents: audit quality maturity model and the digital competency maturity model of the CFO. So where there are marks, future empanelment is with that. So whether the firm had got a policy on skilling up the team, whether there is a policy on knowledge upgradation, whether there is a policy on retention of the working papers, whether there is a, so like that, for each of these questions, institute had come up with certain marks like 4, 5, which are totaling up to some 100, and then that is also measuring our audit quality. Okay, so therefore this is very, very important. So we may get a question from our own institute, or we may get a question from the ICAI, from the income tax department tomorrow, and leave alone answering certain regulator. Our own work had got a lot of portion that we can easily automate. Okay, so anything that had a pattern, anything that does not require an immediate judgment can be easily automated. Okay, now what happens with Excel and what happens with very generic tools is, one, on the pros and cons. On the pro, it is that we can do whatever we want, we can create any number of strong models, but the con is that it requires a lot of knowledge from the one who creates that Excel template. Not everybody can, or not everybody is trained to do that, nor it is our basic main course to be thorough with some sort of preparation of Excel templates or models. Okay, so this is a little background or little motivation that there is a huge requirement. And another part is the automated scrutiny, the automated intelligence. By automated intelligence, what I mean is, if we can draw a rule, like whenever I give a day book, I can write a rule that you pick up all those items of the day book where the type is payment, and where the nature of the payment is cash, and where the amount is greater than 5,000, 10,000 or 20,000, whatever. And if I can write a rule somewhere, and I can call this rule number 22 or rule number 23, so that what happens is, the planning or strategizing of that query base is one set, and then application of that is another set. So by that, what happens is, we can record, or we can create the querying rules, the rules which we have to apply while querying. Okay, another major challenge is, how do we document that the nature in which we picked up the sample is proper, not with any sort of negligence, not with any sort of bias. Okay, so these are the few pain points which were addressed, and which
screen sharing is stopped, or is, okay.
Yeah, because it is more like a talk and there is a standard screen, I just had stopped it. Yeah. So these are certain pain points which needs to be addressed, and with that motivation, in fact, I am advising few. I'm not going into the details or the names. I'm on the advising side of certain automations. I have been in this for quite a long time, almost like 10 years. So where certain ERPs like SAP, certain ABAP reports, which we are providing the basic in which it can be automated. And now let me introduce one utility where it is not like it is a software. There is a difference between a software and an application and a platform. Okay, if it runs on a preset logic, and it is just like a calculator. It calculates and gives the report. Like if we put it into a punching machine, it punches and gives. Then it is a software. Okay, but then if it allows us to do anything that we want, that is a tool. Okay, so tool will not do anything on its own, but tool will enable us to do anything that we want. Excel is a tool. Okay, but Excel is a very generic tool, very wide tool. When we open Excel, it comes with a blank screen. So it is blank rows and blank columns. You can start from the scratch, but the possibilities are unlimited. That is the power of that. Okay, now with this little intro, let me jump into presenting one utility, and this is with the beta version is done, and then few firms are using it, and then okay, those details I'm not going into now. Yeah. So I'm opening one assignment. Let us take some Indian pharmaceutical, the statutory audit and the tax audit for a particular given period. Yeah. So what are all the different modules a chartered accountant firm will be requiring? What are all the different modules that we will be requiring? One, we will be working on configuring the audit or planning the audit, and then we collect our audit universe, whatever we want to perform the audit on, and then we go to analyze this. So this is where our sampling techniques, analytical techniques, writing a query and all will come to play. And then we may prepare not exactly the preparation of the financial statements, but then from the trial balance, if we prepare the financial statements on our own, this will enable us to pass a rectification entries wherever we want to do the ratio analysis and to do the disclosures of that sort. And then there are certain things that we have to perform at an assignment level. There are certain things that we have to perform at a local level or an voucher level. So what we perform at a voucher level, we call it as substantial testing. What we perform at a global level, we call it as assignment level procedures. And then there are certain things like internal control and risk assessment, which is more relevant for statutory audit. Of course, needless to say, in any particular job, it is required, not only for statutory audit, but in a statutory audit, there is a specific requirement that calls us to give a comment on. And then we come up to a finding. The findings could be like it could be a memo or it could be a misstatement that is found. And then also we may raise a communication with the client seeking certain information. And then the next we will go for giving an audit report. It could be a tax audit report or a 3CA or a CARO or whatever. But today the talk is more on tax audit. I'll restrict myself to tax audit. And the last one is the documentation, the audit documentation that we collect or we have to prepare or we are supposed to maintain. And the last one is the audit sign-off. So we go to the sign-off. The sign-off report will enable us to show what are all the audit jobs that are like collection, BRS, preparation and all. So these are all the various tasks, and if it is completed, it will show the status as complete, closed envelope, or if it is still running or if it is not yet started. Like that, it will also show us, the sign-off report will show us the due date and the exact position where we are. So coming back, so this is a general framework of any audit, the general framework of not particularly a tax audit, but a general framework of any particular audit that we want. Okay, now what is the final report that we have to issue in case of a tax audit? Basically, it is like 3CD and 3CA, and if there is international transaction and or a specified domestic transaction, we have to issue 3CEB. And if there are trusts and all, then there are certain other forms which may have to give, or the MAT, if it is applicable, then we have to give some the calculation of the minimum alternate tax and 10B, 10J, those kind of reports also we have to issue. So these are all the reports. Again, as I said, this is a framework. By framework, what I mean is we can configure anything that we want. So I'll go to the configuration window. In the configuration, I will set it up. What are all the reports that I have to give at the end of the job, and what are the checklists that I am going to use in this. So if I go to the checklists and I tend to add, it will show up all the checklists that are available. Just give me a second.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You're able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir. I'm able to see the screen, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going into the reports, and I have already configured tax audit report and 3CAB. Like that, I can configure whatever the report that I can give from out of the reports that are available, like 3CEB and 3CEB annexure is also there. Form 10B is there. Like that, I can configure whatever I'm going to deliver at the end of this particular assignment. Anyway, I have already added tax audit report. Similarly, I may be issuing certain annexures at the end of the audit. Like for example, there are certain annexures which are forming part of our 3CD, like the profit sharing ratio, the contribution to provident fund, which is clause 20B of our tax audit report 3CD, payments to parties under 48(2)B, liabilities under 43B that were pre-existing for the assessment year or that are incurred during the assessment year, the TDS annexure under chapter 17B, or the payments on which TDS is not paid or short paid. These are all the annexures. So once I set it up, in a sense, I'm just dragging and dropping, or I'm just adding the issues that what we have to issue at the end. Okay, suppose assets not found on physical verification may not be relevant for tax audit. List of FDs may not be relevant, though that I can remove. So this is the step of configuring. Okay, and then going the next step in our planning is, once we set it up, we can set the permissions. Anyway, I'm not going into that. It's everyone of us can correlate what the setting up of the permissions is. And the next one is, we can also choose and decide how much of audit we wish to perform under each of the heads. Under each of the heads, how much of audit we wish to perform. Okay, of course, tax audit is a certificate. It is not an opinion. We have no chance of taking a sample. We are watching the correctness of that. But then there also the sampling, if you see the guidance note on tax audit, the sampling is permitted to a certain extent. Anyway, what our auditing standard says is that we must define the extent of checking. So here I can define my extent of checking like this. I can define my extent of checking like whatever that I want to perform. So if I want to perform, let us say on tax audit checklist, I want to perform 100%. So I can say my extent of coverage, the required coverage is 100%. So therefore, yeah, the difference between a proper configured ERP kind of a thing is that things are in place. Things are in place and we have to go and then configure. We need not be expert of designing something, designing a form or drawing a formulas and all. It is like plug and play, start using that. That's it. So therefore here, if you see under a checklist, maybe under drawing power calculation, or maybe under, I couldn't find a proper example here, or maybe under a deferred tax specific checklist, my required percentage to check is, let us say 60%. I'm just going theoretically. So what it shows is, it will show how much of sampling had been done, and if it is in green, which means that we have done to an extent of excess, and if it is in red, it is showing that we are still short of whatever the plan that we have planned for. Okay, so if tomorrow we are called upon to show how the audit was done, how much of sample is done, then we have required to demonstrate this. So similarly, I can also configure my population, like in an audit, tax audit, there could be a lot of audit populations that we may check. Of course, daybook is the first one. Apart from daybook, we may also go to fixed asset register. We may also visit deposit registers. We may also see the GST, ITC and adjustments, the recent clause 44 that was enabled. We may also check certain other registers which are not forming part of the daybook, or that not mainstream, but there are standalone ledgers like EMD register or a derivative register where we have to calculate the closing provision and then to disallow something under section 36. We may also go through the legal suits to see whether everything had been paid for the 43B, the disputed and undisputed. So therefore, we will be visiting multiple populations in our audit. So automatically, whatever is configured is coming here. And if you want to do a risk assessment, this is for even advanced audits. So if you want to do a risk assessment under legal suits, what are all the risks that are relevant? Let us say the concentration risk, maybe the solvency risk, maybe the conflict of interest risk. So that way, we can simply plug and play, we can simply put whatever the risks that our particular tax audit report is suffering from or vulnerable to. Okay, and because it is not statutory audit, I'm not going into materiality. This materiality is more relevant for drawing up the balance sheet. I'm just skipping that off for now. Yeah, so the next step is data collection. Okay, so here I can collect any amount of data. I can collect my day book, I can collect my EMD register or a fixed asset register. How I can collect this? So go to the data collection and then click on the day book. So it will enable me to upload the data from any particular accounting solution, and the interface provided is Excel. So you go to Excel upload, and if you click on the Excel upload, what happens is we can choose the Excel upload file, and we can also choose to which into we want to put the data. So therefore we can collect the data. Now the utilities that are said by Mr. Saran in the previous session as to how to convert a downloaded daybook into a proper Excel file. This system had got certain pre-processing capabilities, like if something is missing, it will fill it up. If the date column is not uniform, it will fill it up. But then it may also require certain pre-processing. Anyway, by that we have collected our data. Now we are having the data on which we want to perform the tax audit. Okay. Now I will go into analytics a little later. I'm just coming up with the normal kind of an. I just want to explain the flow of the audit before I go into the advanced topics of analytics or risk assessment that is not required for tax audit that much as it is required in statutory audit, because this is more of a certification. Tax audit is more of a certification. We are duty bound to come up with the correctness. It is not that we have to express an opinion on the general fairness. Okay, so the amount of correctness and the amount of sampling that tax audit requires are fairly huge and large. Anyway, so if I had collected my day book, now this is my day book. What I can do is, where we will be losing lot of our data is when we get a data, and let us say we are assisted by 2 articled students. How do we assign the work to our article student? Like on this particular voucher, where the party name or the name of the expense is like this, on this particular voucher, which audit step has to be performed? Okay, like some are to be verified for compliance of TDS, some are to be verified for compliance of cash payment, some are to be verified for the compliance of particular section, like is it an eligible project, is it eligible for some special allowances or the deductions or ICAI kind of stuff. So not all vouchers or not all items require the same audit technique. So how do we allocate? First of all, there are 2 things. How do we identify on which to perform what? Second thing is, having identified, how do we give it to our staff? Okay, or maybe let us say I am doing tax audit and I am alone. Even then, it is better for me to plan on today, let us say 27th August, I am the head, and tomorrow on 28th I am the junior. So the tomorrow I will be doing the vouching, or I may be filling like a checklist, like an young chartered, like an young article train. Okay, it is better that we segregate the role. So how can I do that? It comes up with, like, if I select one particular item to be performed, like I have selected item 1, item 2, item 3, and also item 6. So on this, what I want to do is, because it is a setting like a bank software or an ERP or an SAP or a Tally. So what I can do is, having selected that, I can promote them to the audit sample or to the audit scoping and say that on this, please perform, please fill this checklist. So the checklist could be like tax audit checklist or advanced verification or a repayment, or these are all on auditing standards, or I may fill it up to a questionnaire. The difference between checklist and a questionnaire is like 194C. I'm putting them to 194C. And I can also say who has to do that in my office. So let us say Deepthi has to perform and ASP has to approve. That's it. My job of allocation is done. So if I log in through the account of Deepthi, what happens is this particular sample 1 to 10 will be marked for 194 checklist, and let us say the checklist is having some 10 questions to be filled. This 4 into 10, 40 will be pending on her name and she has to fill. So things will fall in a proper place without we taking up any particular effort. Okay, now how do I draw this sample? Why these 4? I'll come to that topic a little later. Okay, now let us say I want to, I have identified these payments to be related party payments. So what I will do, I'll simply mark them to an annexure. Which annexure I have to mark? Let us say I have to mark them to party A to B. So payments to parties, party A to B. I'm marking them to an annexure, which means that in that annexure there are 10 columns, like who is a party name, what is a party name, what is the nature of the relation, what is the total amount, and of that total amount, anything is unreasonable liable for disallowance under 48 to be. Some kind of a grid will be there. Okay, so what I can do is whatever the audit actions I have to perform, like if you open an accounting package, we will have a payment screen, purchase screen, sales screen. Similarly, for an auditor, what he requires is, having selected a sample, he must put it to a report or an annexure or a checklist or a disclosure or a calculation. These are all our audit tools. These are all our audit tools. So selecting a tool is done here. Allocation of the work to the workers is also, who work is also done here. So if I mark these 1, 2, 3, 4 to 48 to be, and I select the user to be ASP, which is me, and I'm also putting myself as the approver to make the demonstration simple. So once I do that, what happens is they will go and sit in that particular annexure. There is no chance that we miss. Okay, of course, what to pick up, that is a professional discretion. But having exercised that, what is automation, it should not allow a manual missing. So if I go to this annexures in my audit report, I'm not. So if I go to this annexures and if I see 48 to be, these 5 items or 6 items will stand there. Yeah, payment to 48 to be, this is annexure. If somebody goes to fill this annexure, all of these 5 items will stand there as a blank items. So these vouchers V22 from the day book are picked up. And if you see the headings, total payment, disallowance under 48 to be, nature of the relation, name of the payee, nature of the payment. So therefore, maybe the article student or maybe whoever it is, so they will go here and fill up the answers for this voucher 22 that is picked up for 48 to be. Who is the name of the payee, name of the payment, total payment, disallowance, nature of the relation, they will fill it up here. Okay, so my job is very simple. What I have to do is, on the total audit population, it could be fixed asset register, it could be EMD register, or it could be your total day book. Okay, what you have to do is simple. You make a ledger scrutiny. I'm coming to that ledger scrutiny part a little later, or the analytical part a little later. What I can do is I can select anything, either manually or assisted by the software. I can select a few things and I can mark them to particular checklists or questionnaires or tools or processes or all of these things that I have to fill it up. Okay, now let us imagine one of the articled student had found certain mistake. Let us say on this V12, certain articled student had found certain mistake. Okay, now where is the articled student reporting that? How is he communicating to us? How are we finalizing that? So for that, we are using all and sundry. We are using Excel, and then we are using sorting, and then we are putting it in a Google Drive, and then we are using Gmail to transfer. And then it is very difficult because one item may be reportable under multiple heads of a tax audit or statutory audit. Okay, and then similar items may flow from multiple parties. So how are we handling? Now? If there is an ERP kind of a setting, there will be a findings module. So somebody will go to the findings module and raise a memo. Okay, or if there's an error, they will fill it up in the misstatement directly. Or if it is not an error, but it is being recorded as a finding, then they can go to a memo. So I'll go to a memo and raise a memo. So I'll go to a memo. I'll take this example of V12, voucher number 12, and I'll demonstrate. So this is my audit memo screens. I can see all the memos which are all raised so far. I can also filter them based on the rank, low, moderate, high. So if I click on moderate, only those of moderate significance will come up. Anyway, these are all small facilities, naturally expected. So if I go to add a memo, what I can do a memo is like, yeah, I'll first pick up where from I got that. So my population is day book and my voucher number is V12. That is the example I have taken. So what I'm saying is an amount of rupees 45,000 or 45 lakh that is supposed to be capitalized had been charged off. So it's a disallowance, and the disallowance is under section general 37. Okay. So the ranking, because it is of high intensity and had a direct impact on the tax computation itself, I'm ranking it as high. So therefore, there is a proper structured way in which all the users of the office are working together. And I'm submitting it for approval of someone who can take a call on this. So I'm putting it for approval of, let's say myself, ASP. Okay. So I can save it. And if the user is an advanced user, he can also tag it to which report is likely to be affected by this. Is it 10B or 3CD or 3CEB or a Jilani committee if it is a bank audit, or a CARO if it is a statutory audit? So therefore, this particular finding can have its ramifications on multiple areas. Okay, so he may propose it here, or if he is not capable enough of proposing, if he is putting fact as a fact, then because it is submitted for ASP, who can visit the same screen again, he can also propose. Okay, or I'll do one thing, I'll make it into 2 steps to make it to bring more role play into the story. So I'm saving it up. So my finding is saved, or the finding by the junior is saved. So because it is submitted for ASP, naturally I will be in a position to open it up. So I click on that, I'll go into that, and oh, that is not the finding, sorry. I clicked on a different one. Let me go back. Yeah, this is a finding. So Indian Pharma 2020. So I'm going to the findings screen, the memos. Now, because it has come up for me, what I do is I'll give my audit response. So in the audit response, what I can do is, let us say there are 2 people in our office. So there is one junior and one senior. The junior had identified certain mistake. Now the senior has to take a call. So what he can do is he can put it in a report. He can do a lot of other things, but I'm just skipping all of them for the sake of time. So I can put another tool or another checklist, or I can say that increase the materiality, decrease the materiality, which are all relevant for statutory audit. So I can say that, yeah, okay, put it into a report. So which report I have to put, and what is the effect of that? I am putting it in a tax audit report. And in the tax audit report, which clause? So there are multiple clauses in the tax audit report. I need not worry, because all of that are already captured here, or you can capture or configure. So I can also have a such facility like capital nature. Yeah. So amounts debited being of capital nature. Okay. So that I am flagging it up. And I can also put it to another particular clause of tax audit, let us say 48(2)(b). So I can also put it to yeah, I can also put it to 48(3). Okay, just for example. Okay, and I can also put it to some other report like under 3CA. I can also put it under other observations. So what I am doing here is, particularly having seen the observation, what I am doing is I am simply marking it to the tax audit report and amount debited of capital nature. So I am just marking it to that. So simply what happens is, let us say 10 tax audits are running in parallel in our office, and 10 article students or certain other accountants are working. So my job will be to give a response and finalize all the findings given. So it's like a video game. So something like I'll get pop-ups from all the 10. So I'll see the correctness or not, and I will give a particular decision on to which it has to be marked, and I'll simply mark them off. So what happens is, if I go to the tax audit report, in the amounts debited to capital nature, this item of this 45 lakh or whatever is automatically tagged and it pop up there. Okay, so it will enable an easy finalization, no missing out. The working paper management is taken up automatically. The documentation is taken up automatically. The work allocation is taken up automatically. Okay, now let me go to my reports. So these are my reports which I have to give at the end. And if I have to go to the reports in the tax audit report, I'll issue my tax audit report only at the end. I'll fill up my tax audit report only at the end. Meanwhile, all the calculations, findings, deferred tax computations, everything will happen on their own. So if I go to this capital nature, the items of capital nature which are debited to balance sheet or trial balance, which is one of the questions. Yeah, amount debited to capital nature. What happens is, if I click on that, I have to issue my answer over there. So I have to type whatever I want to type here. And there is a facility of giving certain draft answers also, which I can edit and say whatever. Now, in order to give this 3CD report, I want to see all the audit findings given by all of my article students or myself in the past. I want to see them. How to see them? Simply click on all the findings. So whatever is tagged, an amount of 45 lakh is supposed to be, which is supposed to be capitalized, has been charged up. So all of them are staged up to this. Okay. Not only that, just like how we drill down in an accounting package from the balance sheet to the last inner detail of a voucher, I can drill down. So if I can click, I can see who had finalized this or how it was finalized. Okay. So this was finalized like this, prepared by ASP, created by someone else. And what is a memo that is raised? I can again drill down one step backward. Okay. And then which voucher it is. If I click on this V12, I can also go to that particular voucher. Okay. So we are creating a system of process, a process whereby from data collection to the performance of the substantial testing, to the giving of an report, to the generating of the report, everything is seamlessly integrated and there is a proper system. So what happens is that when our work is properly structured, we will not lose time. Okay. And by the way, how this particular utility, the software, how this any audit knows that the tax audit report has got these clauses, whether it is given by that software vendor or whether we have to configure. Okay, the answer is both are possible. Okay, so whatever is given by the software is given by the software. Otherwise, I can go to the settings and I can set up any annexure that I want. I can set up any report that I want. Okay, let us say I want to create a new report or I want to create a new annexure. Can I do that, or shall I have to depend on the customization of this? Is it a tool or is it a framework? The answer is it is a framework. So let me go back one step back to the settings, and let me show you how we can create this. There is a report, tax audit report or 3CD, where all the clauses as provided by 3CD are there. Okay, so who created this? How these questions are exactly have been given this, and what if there is a new report or a new form added? The thing is that you can set it up on your own. So I'm just going out of this client and assignment. I'm going to the master page or a settings page. So you can see none of the clients or assignments are here. There are settings, the first screen, or rather the setting up of the tool for the first time. So under that, you can go to the settings. There are audit tools. In the audit tools, you can set up your own report or your own annexure. So I'm creating my own annexure. Okay, so I'm putting a new annexure, like annexure for clause 44. Now it was made live. So I'm creating an annexure like clause 44. Particulars of expenditure from various GST registered entities. So because it is an annexure, you can set this annexure in any way we want. The possibilities are endless. Of course, everything that is standard is preloaded as a complementary or as a standard, this one. But the tool allows you to create anything on your own. Now, if I go to class 44, what I can do is, let us say under class 44, nature of the payment, because it is a nature of the payment, it will be an alphabetic answer. It is required, it is not optional. So I'm just building up my own annexure. So this is nature of payment. Then registration status of the person. It is also alphabetic. And then amount paid, which is numeric. So this is a new annexure, class 44, which is not there so far, which I have built now on the fly during the demo. So I have created 3 fields in that. 2 of them are alphabetic and 1 is numerical. So what I can do is I can pick up one audit which I am working on. Again, back to that example, whatever I have been demonstrating. So I can go there. Now my first step is go to the configuration, or the planning stage. So, and I have to configure this annexure. So there are multiple audit tools that we want. We use checklists, questionnaires, calculations. We use MIS, we use reports, we use compliances. In the annexures, these are all the annexures that are in use so far. So I have just had created one more by name class 44, which I am pulling it up into this. Okay, so the class 44 with a predetermined denomination of 3 columns I have already configured. Now what I can do is I can go to my daybook, and for all the payments or for all the items, I can put an auto mapping, or I'm doing a manual mapping for ease of presentation. So I'm putting 10 and 11. I'm putting these 2, and I'm saying that for this you have to fill the clause, like in annexure. In annexure, please fill class 44. To be filled by whom? To be approved by whom? That's it. So automatically these 2 items will go marked and will stand there for class 44, filling up. So if I go to my substantial testing in the annexures, if I see, there will be a class 44, and under class 44 there will be 2 blank items which are to be filled up. So if I go to class 44, there will be 2 blank items which I have to fill up. Okay, the last one, it got struck. Okay. So if I go to the class 44 and click on that, the heads will be nature of the payment, registered amount, registered status of that person, and the amount paid. Okay. So this way what happens is we can configure any sort of a report, any sort of a annexure, or any sort of a checklist that we want to fill and all. Now the question is how to pick up a sample, how to draw a sample. Well, we can do it by using Excel, Power BI, Power Query, or we can use the same analytics here as well. So this is a analytical screen. So I'm going to analytics. Now in the analytics, what I'm doing is I'm picking up the data from where? Daybook. So now this is my total daybook. There are around 3,000 line items in this. Out of 3,000 line items, if I say this is debit amount and this is credit amount, and these are name of the party and then GL name and then GL code and all, what I can do is I can perform any sort of analytical work, which whatever that I will do in Excel, without having to write any formulas or anything of that stuff. Okay, now I want to visualize this debit amount into 10 buckets. I want to see the range, what is the maximum number and the minimum number, and I want to see it in 10 buckets. How can I do that? So this is a visualization. Click on this visualization graph. How many buckets you want to divide? 10 buckets, or you can also specify the interval. Okay, So what I'm doing is I'm specifying it to 10 buckets, and I'm seeing all the debit transactions into 10 buckets. So if you click on that, it will visualize and it will show where my numbers are. So out of 3,000, 2,000 items are within a range of 0 to 60,000. Okay, so there are one transactions which are very, very far off, and the amount is like some 6 lakh. Okay, and then there are certain transactions which are of smaller number, and this is how my spread is. Now if I want to go deep into these 132 items, so out of 3,000 line items, I'm going into 132, the two of debits. Okay, so if I can click on that, automatically it will fetch those 132 items. See, I need not write any formula, I need not use any sort of that. It is like plug and play. Now what had happened is the queries that I have run, I have done it twice, so it had been recorded twice. Okay. So I'm going to debug. So there are 3,000 line items. Now what I'm doing is in the debit, I'm making it into 10 buckets. So from the 10 buckets, I'm drilling down or going deep into this 132 line items. So once I click on that 132 line items, I will see only those 132 line items. Now, out of that 132 line items, I want to filter it like where party name contains or where the payment mode contains cash. So what I can do is I can say containing, or I can say equal to. Containing is an easy thing where it contains cash. So it will filter down. So from 132, it will come down a little deeper. It will come further less. So now I got 55 transactions. Okay. Now what I can do, I can further go into the analysis. So that way the things are countless. Like I can go into date, and then I can put a filter there, and it ready-madely it gives it in a ready-made fashion. The B stands for Benford law. So wherever you want to perform Benford law, if you click on B, it will give a Benford law. Anyway, I will do it a little later. I'll start from the beginning and I'll do that. So let me complete this particular thing. So now I am having 55 records. Now I want to give these 55 records for my verification. Let us say I want to verify it for compliance of some 194C. I want my staff or team or myself to fill or to check. So why I got this 55, that is up to my decision. So I can filter on any one of them just like how I am doing it. Without writing any formula, I can simply click on this. If I go to date of entry, I can say the operator is between so and so date to so and so date, or I can say it is greater than last quarter, less than first quarter, or whatever I want to put. So that way I can funnel down into that. Not only that, the way I have progressed is also known here. So what I can do is I can select all of them, and again I can put them to the same scoping what I have done. Earlier I did it very manually with some hunch. Now I'm doing it programmatically by creating certain queries. So what I can do is I can scope them, again pick up the checklist or a questionnaire that I want to render on this. So put it to some 194C or 194B or whatever you want, and you can also specify the user and the performer of that. Okay, I want this to be done by ASP. And not only that, I can also save this. I can also save this with some text, whatever you want, demo on 27th August. So what happens is this action is getting recorded. If at all you want, not that whatever we do is getting recorded, but if I want to save this, I can also save this, so that what happens is that becomes my documentation later. Okay, so how I arrived at which queries I have run to arrive to this particular sample. So how I performed my 194C audit, how I performed my deferred tax audit, how I performed my 40A2B audit, I can demonstrate a trial. Now if I go to this log, this item, whatever I have performed, you can see there. So this is a log. If you go to the last one, yeah, so this is how I arrived at these 55 records. So first I written this query that had fetched me 132. Out of that I said where party containing cash, and this has fetched me 55, and on this I have performed my 194C audit or whatever. Not only that, tomorrow if you can come here and click on that, those 55 records will be loaded again. Okay. So this is the advantage of having a proper structured tool, so that what happens, our energies are clearly focused on the way to do the audit. Okay, and tomorrow in the scrutiny or assessment or any other regulatory or FRB or whatever the peer reviews and the quality review boards which we have to answer, we will have a clear trial. Okay, so those 52, 55 records are fetched back here. Now I am seeing 55. You can see 2, 3, 4, and the last page will contain 55 records. That's it. So these are the 55 records. So therefore, the way we are sampling out, the way we are reaching out to a particular sample for the different contexts that are involved. So the moment you are given a data, in the first 4 or 5 days, what you can do is you can run number of queries. You can run number of queries to pick up various samples and allocate the work to your students. So what happens is they will be working proper. Now let us see how the screen of the one who is doing the audit will look like. And before that, before I miss, let me show this Benford law once. So what Benford law says is that, I think whoever have done their forensic courses, they are very clear with the Benford law. So what the Benford law says is that any number which is not sequential, which is random, or which can generate on their own, if they are not fabricated, then they have to follow a Benford law. And what the Benford law says is the numbers that are starting with 1 shall be the highest, and then the number of, so if I click on Benford law, it automatically maybe that certain zeros are there, that is the reason. Okay, I think there is some hiccup there. Anyway, so now what happens is, so in a way, what I'm doing is, I'm talking something, I'm just saying that how the screen of the article student or the one who is performing the exact audit. So on day 1, when I get my data and the day book, I have seen that, I have analyzed that, I have drawn a sample, and I have scoped it to various checklists, questionnaires, or annexures, or whatever I want. So if I go to a questionnaire, let us say, there is a timeout for certain inactivity on this, and I'm also working on mobile data. So if I go to perform my substantial testing, and if I take my 194C audit, so what are all the samples that are scoped for 194C will appear there. So this is one item like 0001, and if I want to answer that, so against each question of 194C, okay, it's a dummy questionnaire. What is the rate of tax, or what is that? I can answer it here, and because I'm not there as a user or a approver, I'm not getting to fill the answer. It is showing me faded out. You are not the approver or doer. You have no permission. Anyway, if I had a permission for all the questions, what happens is I can fill my answer here, or I can raise a memo from here. So I have already demonstrated what a memo is. So if I click on a memo, then automatically it will go to the memo screen. Not only that, all the subjects and the questionnaires where from we are up to here is also pre-filled. Okay, so this way what happens is every questionnaire and a checklist that we have to fill, every checklist and every questionnaire that we have to fill, and we will also have a prompt of that. If I go to the home, I will know how many items are pending in my name. So that what happens is the moment I open up a screen, I know that there are 11 plans overdue, 44 milestones overdue, and some items which are pending on my name. So if I click on that, I'll know where from the pending is coming. Is it from checklist or a plan or a process or a questionnaire? So if I click on the questionnaire, I know which questionnaire my pending is coming up from. So therefore, automatically I am guided to do my pending work and get it closed as per a process. So therefore it automatically picks up the efficiency part of it, and because and people can work, and this is how things are integrated. That is where it is coming up to. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to integrate the things and we have to automate the things. By automation, whatever is a natural next step that has to be prompted properly. Now at the end of the day, we have to have a documentation. So if I go to the documentation screen, and if I click on the final documentation, this is a little intense because it is I have loaded a lot of data, a lot of workings are there. It will take a little time, but then we will do that. It will take 2 minutes of time. So if I click on the final documentation, what it will generate is, you can see that it is running here. What it will does is that it will pull all the data right from inception, planning, report, findings. So everything will form part of one particular PDF. So your 3CD is all filled up, and with annexures are all filled up, and then how we have analyzed our data, that log, that queries which we have written, that are all filled up, and that will give us our audit notes into one particular binder. So with some 100 or 200 pages report, whatever it is, depending on the size of the audit, we will get to see the whole picture. Okay. So the thing is, will it automatically pick up the 44, 40 A2B transactions or 43 transactions? To somewhat, yes. Yeah, it has taken 2 minutes. So I'm downloading the PDF. So what it does is, if I go to the PDF, of course, I've taken a statutory audit example because I got the information only today. Had I got the information 2-3 days, I could have presented a total working paper on a tax audit itself. Anyway, the modus operandi is the same. So this is a total binder. So yeah, you can see that there is a huge number, 648 page report. So if I click on engagement team, I can see who are all the team that have worked on. If I click on populations, which populations are tested, which samples are drawn, which reports are given. So if I go to that 45, yeah, so these are all the findings which you have written. So this finding I have written just in front of you. On voucher 12, an amount of 45,000 that is supposed to be capitalized. So I can see it here. So I can also see it in my 3CA or a 3CD. So you can see it, amount debited, capital nature, all the findings that are relevant to that are all mapped. Okay, so we are not putting things in drives, or we are not putting things on, we are not sorting things, we are not taking any pain to create any documentation. Okay, so if tomorrow somebody asks us to prove how this particular 40A2B or 40B or whatever it is, 40A3 transaction is done, so whatever it is mapped to that, the findings that are mapped to that, they are all there. Okay, and if I want to go to the log, analytical log, and if I want to prove how I have drawn a particular sample for 194C, so the steps that I have taken. Okay, so on the daybook, first of all, so these are 55. How that 55 had come? First, I have taken the bucket 59 to 1 lakh. So in that particular range, 132 are there, and on that I have filtered on containing cash, that had fetched me 55. So that I have taken up for this particular sample, and the tag is some demo on 27th August today. Okay, so look at it. Just I started my presentation some 40-45 minutes back, and if I get a real data, what happens is I can do my analytics proper, and I can put it to samples, and all the samples have to be worked on by that. And as a member, what happens is we will focus our work only on things like tax audit checklist. What are all the samples? This is a sample. So in this purchase order, this item is picked up for a sample. So these are all the samples for each of the checklist. So for this checklist, these are all the samples. Okay, so for each of the checklist are this one. One thing is that it puts things in proper place. Okay, so that what happens is that people will also be more sensitized about the process. So going forward, we can automate things, and we can concentrate more on tax provisions rather than on putting things from various locations and all, and then finalizing things and all. And of course, if there is some very deep analytical thing that is required, which requires 4 tables to be joined, definitely if such an advanced usage is there, then we have to resort to some sort of a power query. No doubt about that. This is not in supplement in substitution of any particular Power Query or a Power BI or a Tableau, but then to use them also requires some sort of a, first of all, that data should be of that that variety and volume, and then the user should also be properly trained in that. Okay, so this is one piece of thought. This is one piece of thought where how can we structure the flow? Okay, because if you say tax audit, we are required to fill almost like 45 clauses, and each clause has got its own regulatory framework. If you say 40A3, then Rule 6D. Okay, and then for Rule 6D, we have to have one questionnaire. Okay, and if you go into tedious provisions, they are really tedious because multiple sections, and in each of a section like 194C, again, if it is a transporter, again, if he is, there are certain specific transactional arrangements also for TCS. So therefore, how can we ensure that the scrutiny that is done in place, and how can we ensure that all the findings that are done are properly captured? And the most dangerous part of it is good if we miss out completely. The dangerous part of it is if we have already captured somewhere, but then we are not giving a proper logical treatment of that, that is where we will be caught on a wrong foot. Okay, so therefore that possibility is not there, because once the in a maker checker concept, what happens is if something is mapped up to me, then I have no other option but to take one stand. I have to either close it, or I have to, like, if you go to the sign off report, you cannot sign off something without closing all of them. Okay, of course you can open it and call it as verified found. Okay, that is up to us. But then let's say if I want to close this tax audit checklist, I want to mark this as closed, it won't allow. What it says, you have not closed the previous steps, and under this also there are certain points. You see, you cannot close the milestone tax audit until you close the earlier milestone, and moreover, under this particular checklist itself, there are some 725 pending items. Okay, under all of the tax audit universe. So what happens is, of course, we may open that, and if there is nothing pending, we can also bulk select and then call say that it is done and proper. Okay, so this is like, how can we use the tools and techniques and to see that our structure is done properly. Okay, this is at particular Indian pharmaceutical. If I log out and see at a global level, then I will get the statistics at a very global level. So it will be like very big number. This is under all the assignments put together. All the tax audits put together. Okay, so it will be like everybody's work is properly organized, and at the end we will be given a document which speaks for itself. Like there are a number of other things like the adjustment entries, audit rectification entries passed. Okay, and then the materiality and the materiality check. And then I'll do one thing, because of lack of time, I will only go through the chapters. I'm not going into the chapters. Okay, so what are all the milestones? What are all the applicabilities that we have tested? Like if ICDS 1 is applicable or not, ICDS 2 is applicable or not, that applicability criteria, we can check it over here. And then the checklists and questionnaires that we have filled, the final reports that we have given, and then materiality and all these are relevant for statutory audit mostly. So if you come to the last stages, the working papers that we have collected, the permanent file and the current file, the audit rectification entries that we have passed, the analytical testing that was done, the misstatements, and the analytical log which we have used to arrive at this particular sample. Okay, this particular sample, or how we have picked up our sample and what work is rendered on that. Okay, so that way we have to automate whatever is routine, so that the concept is very simple. Concentrate on what cannot be automated and let automation do the rest. Okay, and again a disclaimer, this is not of any sort of an endorsement for any particular thing. We're just like where the things are heading to, where the automation is heading to. Okay, how we can use appropriate tools to minimize our work, and we get the maximum productivity out of it. Okay, and with this I have stopped the screen share. We are having another few minutes left. So any particular questions on apart from that? Of course, we can go on for any number of time, any quantum of time. If you give a particular day book, okay, now that I am doing my data science with ISB, what I feel is all of these conventional audit, including what I have demonstrated, all of these documentation and these tools and all, they will soon outlive. Okay, they will soon be surpassed, because the way at which the robotic process automation, the way at which the other technologies, the way at which the AML is picking up is huge. Okay, I'll just give a small hint of where that AML is heading to. Okay, in the anomaly detection, in the machine learning, what happens is, if I give some sort of a structured data, okay, if I give a particular day book, and if I find certain anomalies already, okay, like in this TDS was not done, in this party A3 is missing, in this some related party transaction was paid and it is paid in excess, in this the some 92 section 92 transfer pricing transactions were hit and the ALP is not followed. So if I say certain observations, from there on the machine will do on its own. How the machine will pick up on its own, the thing is like that, wherever from the real data, wherever the observations are found, so it will search for a pattern in this, and it will learn the pattern on its own by innumerable iterations, by innumerable uncountable iterations, and it will do the audit on its own. So that is where in fact the department is already up to that. Okay, that is why we can see the annual information system, the power with which the department is progressing. For most of our clients, the refunds, the system could process, and it would we got the messages immediately. That could be the experience of everyone here. So, and certain bank accounts which even the client is not aware of, the department is aware of. Okay, so we should be very careful about the way the regulator is becoming smart day by day, and that also makes us, that also gives us a sense of direction within to which we have to go. Okay, because at the end of the day, the consumer of our work is the department, and the department has to be satisfied that the concerned checks and balances as are required under the various provisions of tax audit are properly done. Okay, of course, in the 1.5 hour, I cannot go into the specifics of tax audit, but I think I had touched the contours and said that how we can put things in place properly. Okay, with this, I hand it over to the chair, and any specific questions. Of course, I'm not able to see myself, nor the screen, nor the others. So it's like it's a different experience, like talking to God. So if any questions are there, I'm very happy to take them up. Or any particular requirement on particular clause, how to handle that also I can touch base.
Request from audience, sir. Actually, questions actually here. We'll check up if any. And the audience, those who want to unmute and ask, post any questions, they can unmute and ask. Sir. Wait for something. And if there is any which comes up to our mail ID, we'll share it to you. So when time permits, you can.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And is
we can also take them offline.
If at all, is there any materials or link to be shared with the audience? You can share over WhatsApp or mail. So we'll share it among the audience along with the recordings of the sessions.
Yeah. One thing is, it is mostly extempore, so that I'm not following any set pattern of presentation. Secondly, I'm also not sure whether I can share these particular things or not. Anyway, it is there in the recording. So any specific questions on the style or the way, we can take it up.
Okay. One question from is asking about is there how much is any audit per month? There's one question from one of our attendees.
Sir, I'm not able to hear you properly. It's breaking.
Okay, it seems you're.
Yeah, Saran, you're there.
So it seems that
yes, sir. I just
how much is any audit per month, sir? Actually, question is how much is any audit?
The network is.
Yeah, it seems after the presentation.
Yeah, Sivaprasad, is my voice audible?
Saran sir, your voice is audible, sir. Sivaprasad sir, voice is audible.
Those things we can take off because
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
these were.
yeah, I'm audible, right?
Yeah, yes, you are audible now,
Yes, you
sir.
are
You are
audible.
audible.
Yeah. One thing is, one thing is like just like how this particular application is, there are multiple applications. So Sharan ji had also said in the opening remarks, few applications are more into documentation, few applications to what you call it, few applications are more into office management. The thing is, it is automation per se that what we have talked. But of course, just like we have to take some Excel or Tally or any audit or some other X or Y in order for us to demonstrate, we are only demonstrating the utility than the exact this one. Of course, we can reach out to whoever it is, like Office 365 or whatever the Power Tabular or BI or whatever that is, or any audit. You can refer to the sites and then go for it. And I missed some of the questions, sir.
There is no much questions as of now, sir. And if everything is completed, we'll wind up the session. So, Saran sir, is there anything you want to share from your end, Saran sir?
Yeah.
Apart from
Nothing, sir. I just would like to thank again the audience for the patient hearing. Yeah, Sivaprasad sir, you are talking something.
Yeah, no, nothing. We just want to hear your remarks.
No, sir, not much remarks. In fact, we all should say thanks to. In fact, if you ask me, I always thank Microsoft because of Microsoft and because of Excel, I'm here before all of the people. So I should also thank our institute because they always remember me and call for these type of sessions. And I should thank to the audience. In fact, if they are not participating, I'm sure SIRC should have thrown me out, long back. Thanks to everyone for the patient hearing. We are always there to support anytime. See, the concept of SIRC or any branch for that matter is, though they are keeping the session for 1 hour or 2 hours. It is only the intention. We are just giving a thought process into your mind so that you can go back and start looking into these words or these applications. My suggestion for all of the participants, I can find 69 in the session. Every day spend 10 to 15 minutes on the applications. You can see the power of it after 1 year, because maybe initially whatever comes under your hand while you are browsing YouTube or Google, you just start watching it or start reading it. Once you start reading it, you may not immediately remember or you may not immediately digest what the content you read or watched. But once you slowly start doing the same thing every day, or the period of 30 days or 40 days or 50 days, later, whatever the thing which you are going to watch or read, then you can start connecting the dots to the previous sessions, previous content. So by the time 1 year, I'm sure you will get the maturity towards the understanding technology. It's not about we need to watch, it's not about we need to read. Once you reach the level of maturity of level understanding the technology, for me, any application is same, Tally is same, SAP is same, but only the thing is you should have that maturity level. I can 100% confidently say that I can learn any application if you give me 10 days time. The reason behind this is I got that maturity level of understanding the technology. I'm sure you all work towards that. This is what my piece of advice before closing the session. Thank you so much again for the Selva. In fact, he's part of the session till the end, made sure that the technology glitches and everything is solved on time. Thank you, Sivaprasad. In fact, I trouble you with
Thank you,
very
sir.
short
Thank
notice
you.
and
yes,
session. We all are in fact enlightened.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you so much on behalf of office bearers and chairman, secretary, and others office bearers in the absence here. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking up the session on short notice. We look forward to have you in a hands-on session in SIRC in physical session. Kumar sir has done already a physical session in SIRC. We'll be doing any hands-on session Excel in future, so mostly in November or October. We look forward to have you in physically over there, sir. Thank you so much, sir, both of you, sir.
Great.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
That's great. thank you,
Thank you.
all the members and Saran ji for giving this opportunity with everyone else. Thank you. Thanks for all the audience who have put up so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.